Chapter 116. With a wave of his azure dragon arm, Lin Shen picked up all the attribute light balls that Ling Tianyu dropped. Rumbling sounds came from the azure dragon arm, and his strength increased rapidly again. I've known for a long time that he possesses the bloodline of the azure dragon. Do you think you still have such a trump card? Lin Shen walked leisurely, and the azure light in his eyes became brighter and brighter. The wind was blowing, and the clouds were changing. He slowly walked towards the people from the Sky Domain branch, and Xiao Qinqi's face became more and more ugly. Lin Shen, today either you die or I die. Burn my azure dragon bloodline. Ling Tianyu, who was lying on the side, got up and roared hysterically. No, Tianyu, don't burn your bloodline. Don't be impulsive. The two Heaven Star border elders of the Sky Domain branch shouted in panic. If the bloodline power was used excessively, it would affect one's future growth and development, which was fatal for a genius. However, as soon as Ling Tianyu finished his words, his face changed drastically. He looked like a constipated old woman, stuttering as he looked at Lin Shen. What did you do to me? Bang. Lin Shen flipped his palm, and the azure dragon arm slammed down, smashing him into a pile of meat paste. From Lin Shen's point of view, it was a pile of attribute light balls and a floating azure pattern treasure chest. He casually smiled. After being hit by so many corrosive runes, you still want to fight and burn your azure dragon bloodline. I'm still burning my calories. The whole place fell into silence, a dead silence. Ling Tianyu was dead, and he was killed by Lin Shen with one slap, and even the Heaven Star border elders couldn't save him. We surrender, we surrender, Xiao Qinqi screamed in fear. The power of Lin Shen's azure dragon arm had increased by more than one level. If even Ling Tianyu couldn't stop him, they would be courting death. The other party had surrendered. Lin Shen couldn't be bothered to chase after them. He casually picked up the dazzling array of attribute light balls on the ground. His azure dragon bloodline soared once again. To Lin Shen's surprise, the white ring that had been lurking in his dantian for a long time was throbbing along with the improvement of the azure dragon bloodline, as if it had received a new consciousness from the source of life. In the blink of an eye, Lin Shen had absorbed all of the azure dragon's blood meridians. His azure dragon arm's maximum strength rose to 980,000 tiger power before stopping. Right at this moment, a strange phenomenon occurred and broke the silence. No, Tianyu, you bastard, you actually dared to kill Tianyu. The old man's hoarse and miserable roar reverberated through the entire arena. The white light slashed down like a waterfall. Wherever it passed, the battle aura distorted the space. Bang! The vice principal waved his sleeve and shattered the white light. His expression was cold as he said, "What? Do you want to go back on your word?" Just now, it was Ling Tianyu who wanted to put her life on the line. Our students were just instinctively defending themselves. What a joke. Do you know how precious Tianyu's life is? How can it be compared to the lowly life of a stray dog here? The other Heaven Star border realm elder shouted gloomily. He stood up abruptly, and the atmosphere in the arena became tense. F*CKU. Why don't you try calling me a stray dog again and again? Who knew that Lin Shen would curse loudly? His eyes shone with a dazzling light, domineering, fierce, and disdainful of the world. His azure dragon left arm rotated and flowed with a bewitching and beautiful azure dragon breath. It was pure and proud, as if the azure dragon was about to be born. The eyelids of the other two Heaven Star border realm elders twitched violently. They looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. At this moment, they actually sensed a hint of danger from Lin Shen's left arm. If they allowed the dragon breath in Lin Shen's left arm to explode, it might threaten them as Heaven Star border realm cultivators. With Lin Shen's azure dragon arm of 980,000 tiger power, when he activated his only dragon race theurgy, its power was definitely a great killing weapon for Heaven Star border realm cultivators. F*CK. Too cunning. This Lin Shen actually hid an even more powerful trump card. Zhan Tianyang held his broken arm and for the first time, his eyes showed fear towards Lin Chun. With the 10 of us as his opponents, he killed Senior Ling Tianyu and still held back? Shun Lingyu's delicate body trembled. She was filled with fear and uneasiness. This is too sick. I, Qiao Qianxi, accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Qiao Qianxi glanced at Lin Chun and then looked at the heavily injured Sheng Feng and the others. She only had respect and fear for Lin Chun in her heart. Just when both sides were in a deadlock and the atmosphere was abnormally heavy, the elder from the headquarters finally spoke. That's enough. You people from the Sky Domain branch don't need to waste any more time. It's just Ling Tianyu. Ling Tianyu deserved it. He gave up the chance to save his own life. No one can blame the Wasteland branch for him. The golden-haired elder's tone was a little angry, which immediately silenced the elders of the Sky Domain branch. Ling Tianyu might be a true, peerless genius in the 24 domains, but the golden-haired elder was an elder from the headquarters. His vision was many times higher than everyone else's. In his life, he had seen too many peerless geniuses, but how many of them could truly become a peerless expert? But the one who really made him disheartened was Lin Chun. When Lin Chun revealed his Azure Dragon bloodline, he was destined not to be a descendant of God, as the golden-haired elder guessed. The more powerful the bloodline, the more arrogant and domineering it would be. It was impossible for it to contain a second bloodline. Therefore, even though Lin Chun had many secret techniques that even he couldn't see through, he wasn't a descendant of God as he guessed. The golden-haired elder casually waved his hand and said, "For this assessment, the Wasteland branch will win 3 rounds. According to your previous request, they will have 15 spots to participate in the assessment that will be held in 4 months." His words caused the entire Wasteland branch to erupt into cheers. The cheers were like countless slaps on the faces of the students, elders, and instructors of the Heaven Domain Branch Martial Academy. When they first arrived here, they had confidently declared that as long as any team could win 1 round, they would be able to obtain 5 slots. Who would have thought that not only would Class 66 appear out of nowhere, there would also be Lin Chun, challenging all the prodigies that they were so proud of. According to the normal assessment, the Wasteland branch only had 3 chances to challenge. Before Class 66 and Lin Chun returned, they would have already lost. They really suffered a double loss. Their old faces were pulled to the ground and rubbed crazily. The golden-haired elder stepped on the air and arrived at the center of the broken arena. He showed a rare trace of kindness to Lin Chun and said with a smile, "Little guy, your strength and temperament are not bad. I look forward to the assessment that will be held in 4 months." Chapter 117. Lin Chun nodded. He put away his Azure Dragon arm and cupped his fists, neither servile nor overbearing. "Greetings, Senior. Well, you're neither arrogant nor rash. Very good. The quota for your assessment will be allocated by your branch. I hope you, little brat, will be well prepared in the following time. There are many monsters that are several times stronger than you in the main courtyard. I hope you can stand firm in the main courtyard. Do you understand what this old man means?" "Yes, Senior." Lin Chun didn't need to be complacent about defeating Ling Tianyu. He had seen many terrifying monsters in the world. The blonde elder kindly reminded Lin Fan and left with the wind. When he left, he shook his head and laughed. He muttered to himself in a voice that only Lin Fan could hear. "I'm so silly. It's not that easy to meet a descendant of God. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called a legend." After the blonde elder left, only the elders, students, and instructors of the Sky Domain branch were left. "Kid, it's not that simple. Tianyu's identity is not to be underestimated. Even if we can't do anything to you, the masters of the Dragon Clan won't let you go. If you know what's good for you, you'd better come back to the Sky Domain branch with us. Maybe you can ask for a way out." A Heaven Star Border Realm elder with a mustache viciously warned Lin Chun. "Then let them come. This little brother is one of my people. There aren't many dragons in the spiritual state that I don't know." At this moment, an ethereal and graceful voice sounded. It was like the sound of nature purifying people's souls. All the Heaven Star Border Realm Masters focused their eyes and looked towards the sky. From the void above the arena, a beautiful woman's figure floated over like a pure and flawless white cloud. The beauty landed beside Lin Shun. She was as graceful as a swan, as graceful as a swimming dragon. Under her white robe, her skin was as smooth as jade. Her lips were red and her teeth were pearly white. Her beautiful eyes were like flowing waves. She was as beautiful as a rose. The beauty did not have any superfluous accessories. She was dressed in a pure white dress that was like a cloud of smoke. However, when everyone saw her for the first time, they felt as if they had seen a fairy from the ninth heaven descending to the world. She was elegant and ethereal. Perhaps the so-called fairy was just like that. "Sister Bai Ruoyan, how did you know I was here?" Lin Shan said with a smile. A trace of amazement flashed through his eyes. Bai Ruoyan's temperament was even more elegant than the last time they parted. She must have recovered her cultivation. "Little brother Lin Shun, the star jade on you will naturally allow me to find you. However, why didn't you use the star jade I gave you? You've encountered a lot of disasters along the way. You challenged an army by yourself, and even went deep into the dynasty. What? You can't bear to part with your sister." Bai Ruoyan nodded gracefully, a smile on the corner of her mouth. Her laughter carried a hint of a woman's teasing, making her look more like a fairy descending into the mortal world. Her temperament was even more beautiful. "What kind of disaster are those? Weren't they all easily dealt with by me? Sister Bai Ruoyan's favor cannot be used up so easily. I still need to keep it and slowly ponder over how to use it." Lin Chun shrugged and laughed mischievously. Seeing Lin Chun actually chatting and laughing with his fairy-like beauty, teasing her so freely, the boys of Class 66 were even more admiring and exclaiming in admiration. "The class monitor is the class monitor. So freaking awesome. He can even get this kind of fairy. I'm convinced. I'm really convinced. F***CK. What are you saying? A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Our class monitor is such a handsome and cultured person. How can that be called flirting? That's called flirting. Flirting. Don't you know how to use words? Go back and do a 5-year simulation of the inner court. Who can withstand this?" The girls had a complicated expression. They even had the thought of losing in their hearts. Lung Yuechi's expression froze. She was somewhat surprised and shocked. "It's actually her? Wasn't she poisoned? How could she appear here?" A Heaven Realm Elder of the Sky Domain branch sensed by Ruoyan's abnormality. He solemnly and cautiously cupped his fist. "May I ask who you are?" "You don't deserve to know my name. You only need to know that this little fellow is my target. No one is allowed to touch him." Bai Ruoyan's ethereal and elegant voice hit a coldness that pushed people 1,000 miles away. This caused the other Heaven Realm Elders to angrily stand out and suddenly berate her. "You're just a Heaven Realm Elder. Don't just talk big. Wait until we send a message to the Dragon Clan behind Tianyu. Even you won't be able to bear the consequences." Hearing this, Lin Chun was so angry that he laughed and blocked Bai Ruoyan's side. "Ha ha ha. The weak are prey to the strong. It's only right and proper. Everyone, stop bullshitting here. If those Dragon Clan experts want to come, then come. This young master isn't that cowardly. As for you guys, the exam is already over. We've already obtained the quota. Hurry up and scram. Our Wasteland branch doesn't welcome mad dogs like you." Lin Chin's domineering aura leaked from his body as he repaid his debt of gratitude and revenge without hesitation. In front of everyone, he didn't give any face to the people of the Sky Domain branch. His domineering and unrestrained heroism infected all the students present, causing them to shout along with Lin Chun. "Scram! Scram! Scram!" The sky full of denunciations angered the mentors and elders so much that their faces turned green. Their lips trembled. In the past, whenever they went to a branch, the other side would treat them politely. When had they ever suffered such humiliation? "Hurry up and scram. A bunch of mad dogs that bite anyone they see. I, a new student, am more than enough to deal with you. You still dare to shamelessly stay here?" Lin Chun sneered. towards these people from the Sky Domain branch who thought they were born superior and didn't even treat others as humans. Lin Shun didn't intend to treat them as humans. Good. What a good Desolate Region Branch Institute. What a good Lin Shun. We'll remember this debt. Don't think that you'll be fine just because you have a Heaven Realm Elder protecting you. If you fall into our hands one day, we'll make sure you beg for death. After leaving behind a few ruthless words, the group of Heaven Realm Elders quickly left the arena with their mentors and students. The reason why the Bald Elder and the Vice Principal didn't stop Lin Shun from offending the Sky Domain branch was because both sides knew that the most important thing now was whether or not Lin Shun could pass the main branch's examination. As long as he passed the main branch's examination, the Sky Domain branch wouldn't dare to do anything to the Wasteland branch. A branch that could provide fresh blood for the main branch would often be valued. On the contrary, if Lin Shun failed, they would also have to face the revenge of the Sky Domain branch. Little brother Lin Shun, elder sister is looking for you. Before the vice principal and the others could speak, Bai Ruan actually took the initiative to pull Lin Shun's hand and flew out of the arena with him in front of everyone's stunned and envious eyes. This lady's background isn't small. The vice principal stroked his beard and smiled. He gazed in the direction Bai Ruan left, revealing an expression of reminiscence. Chapter 118. All right, little guys, the team competition for the spots in the General Academy's entrance exam is over. I hope everyone can go back and cultivate diligently and become the pillars of our academy soon. Elder Vulture waved his hand in high spirits. The results of this team competition had exceeded his expectations. Almost all the mentors and elders were overjoyed, and their hearts were filled with joy. Let's go back and cultivate quickly. The boys of Class 66 laughed. However, a wave of biting cold air slowly rose from their backs, causing the whole class to shiver. You guys, do you think you can be proud after completing the Academy's most difficult mission? How dare you skip my class? I think you're tired of living. Lung Yuechi released a biting cold battle aura that could freeze the 9 heavens. For the first time, she revealed a sweet smile, like an iceberg melting and 100 flowers blooming. However, in the eyes of Class 66, this smile was simply the smile of the Grim Reaper. Every time Lung Yuechi smiled at them, it was the time when the whole class would suffer. After a while, the screams of Class 66 echoed in the arena. Many of the outer court freshmen silently said to themselves, "Even if I enter the inner court, I will never enter Class 66. 6 hours later, all the boys in Class 66, with the exception of a few who were injured, were beaten black and blue. They staggered back to their dormitory. It hurts. This she-devil is really ruthless. We were too arrogant. After following class monitor Lin Shun for more than a month, we almost forgot that we skipped this she-devil's class. Sigh. If class monitor Lin Shun could also get this she-devil, at least we wouldn't have to suffer in the inner court." The boys complained incessantly as they returned to their dormitory. Following behind the boys were the 2 sisters, Su Lan and Su Lan, who wanted to thank Lin Shun, and Yu Lin Lin and Lu Liner, who wanted to invite Lin Shun for the new mission. Just as everyone reached the 2nd floor, they heard the faint sound of a young man and a woman panting and talking. Many people were shocked. They immediately stopped, circulated their battle aura, and pricked up their ears. Ugh, why did you slow down? Hurry up. Sister Owen, I really can't take it anymore. Let me rest for a while. I really can't make a single drop. No, time is precious right now. Even if you can't do it, you have to do it. Hurry up. Ah, so numb. Sister Ruin, who would be able to withstand your high standards? But time is of the essence. If we don't make the best use of our time, we'll miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What the hell? A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? Not a single drop left. All the boys in Class 66 were petrified. When the girls who followed them heard this ambiguous conversation, their faces turned red, and they were both embarrassed and angry. Judging from their voices, it had to be Class Rep Lin Shun and the White Fairy. Oh my god, Class Monitor Lin Shun is too fierce, right? He even brought a fairy back to the dormitory. That a great beauty at the heavenly Dipper realm. So fierce. Class monitor Lin Shun is really my idol. He even dares to do such a thing. What do you know? Big brother Lin Shun. This is called If You Want to Have Fun, You Must See It to the End. Ying Liang, you're so flirtatious. The boys sighed. Before Yulin Lin could react, Su Lan and Su Lan were already standing in front of Lin Chen's dormitory. Their cheeks were red as they kicked open Lin Chen's dormitory door. Lin Chen, we were wrong about you. We thought you were different from other men. We didn't expect you to be such a pervert. The two girls were indeed twin sisters. The moment they kicked open the door, even their tone and accusation were exactly the same. Yulin Lin quickly followed with light steps. The boys secretly poked their heads out of the door, trying to see the situation in the room. What surprised everyone was that Lin Shun and Bai Ruoyan were sitting cross-legged on the bed. Lin Shun was behind, and Bai Ruoyan was in front. Lin Chen's hands were behind Bai Ruoyan's back. Other than his forehead full of sweat, their clothes were neat and tidy. There was nothing inappropriate for children to see. HM, so it's everyone from the academy. Hello, I'm Bai Ruoyan. Bai Ruoyan smiled. Her words were elegant and graceful, and there was nothing inappropriate about it. Senior Bai Ruoyan, you and Lin Shun. Su Lan was impatient and couldn't help but ask. Her beautiful eyes would occasionally look at Lin Shun with reproach. Little brother Lin Shun. He was helping me to expel the poison. A rare trace of playfulness flashed through the beautiful eyes of the beauty as she spoke with a calm tone. He was just expelling the poison. The girls were astonished. The boys even poked their heads out. Perhaps it was because Bai Ruoyan didn't put on the appearance of a Heaven Dipper realm expert. They didn't have any ill feelings toward each other. They subconsciously blurted out the doubts in their hearts. Senior Bai Ruoyan, didn't big brother Lin Shun say that he couldn't get a single drop of the poison? Of course it's the poison in my body. What else did you think it was? Then, time is of the essence. This extremely rare opportunity that's because Lin Shun will be moving with me tomorrow. Therefore, it's a rare opportunity for him to expel the poison for me. Bai Ruoyan's calm and puzzled appearance made her seem like a pure and flawless fairy. Everyone's mouth twitched violently. Yes, expel the poison. Lin Chan indicated that the two of them were really expelling the poison. However, it was also true that his brother was about to go crazy. So sorry. This junior has offended you. I hope senior can forgive us. Su Lan immediately regained her senses and brought her sister to apologize to Bai Ruoyan. It's fine. However, I would like to ask everyone to step back for a moment. If there's anything, you can wait for little brother Lin Shan to expel the poison for me before looking for him. Bai Ruoyan smiled calmly. Everyone quickly nodded their heads and apologized before closing the door. I say, big sister Ruoyan, you did it on purpose, right? Before they came, you didn't even make a sound. Why did you suddenly? Bai Ruoyan reached out her hand. Her delicate jade finger was like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. She pressed it against Lin Chen's lips and said with a smile, Little brother Lin Chen, you didn't come to look for me for so long. With so many beauties surrounding you, if big sister doesn't use some tricks, I'm afraid little brother won't even remember me. The beauty was as beautiful as a peerless fairy smile. Unexpectedly, there was a trace of a young girl's craftiness. For a moment, Lin Shan was somewhat dazed by her beauty. An unattainable fairy was untainted by the mortal world. However, a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world and still carried a bit of a young girl's emotions was even more beautiful. She flipped her hair and turned her face to look at Lin Chen's dazed expression. Bai Ruoyan seemed to be very satisfied with Lin Chen's reaction. Her slender jade finger tapped the youth's forehead. Little brother Lin Shan, the speed of expelling the poison has slowed down. Lin Shan was very unhappy in his heart. This great and was really tormenting people. He could only look but couldn't eat her. She really messed up his heart. Chapter 119. 12 hours later. A portion of the corrosive rune energy left in by Ruoyan's body was extracted by Lin Shan again. This time, Lin Shun obtained a total of 150,000 rune energy points, which was more than any of the previous times. Byra Oyan stretched her waist lazily. That soft and boneless waist outlined her perfect curves, which made Lin Shun and his brother feel a little thirsty. Thinking about what happened just now, Lin Shun got angrier the more he thought about it. Big Brother Chen actually stayed silent after being teased by a girl? No way. I have to tease her back. Lin Shun suddenly looked at Byra Oyan with an extremely serious and solemn expression. On the beautiful side of her beautiful face, her beautiful eyes were moving as she looked at Jiang Yi with doubt. Big Sister Oyan, you have already messed up my heart earlier. When are you going to mess up my bed? Byra Oyan was startled and burst into laughter. All the beautiful scenery in the world lost its color. Her slender finger tapped on Lin Chen's nose and spoke with a rare solemn expression. Wait until you have truly grown up. Big Sister will give you another chance. I've already grown up. If you don't believe me, you can ask my brother. You are so mischievous. Byra Oyan was exceptionally smart and knew that after this battle, Lin Shen still had too many things to sort out. She didn't want to be too entangled with Lin Shun and left the rest of the time for him to deal with. In Lin Chen's room, he sat cross-legged alone and opened the system. Heaven Dao Possession Pickup System 2.0 version host. Lin Chen Cultivation. Second level of the Earth Realm Perfection. Stage limit power. 447,000 Tiger Force Chi and Blood Energy. 19. 572,000 points Battle Chi Essence. 23. 195 million points Mental Power. 90,500 points Cultivation Technique Soul Essence. 1. 27 million points Mental Cultivation Technique. 9 Calamities of Creation. 6% Cultivation Techniques. Great Brahma Thunder Palm. Mystic Python Heart Shattering Fist. 8 Desolation Mystic Flames. True Water Origin Technique. 90%. Heaven Dipper Battle Chi. 75%. Taisher Scripture. 10%. Divine Desolate 9 Arts, 45%. Special Treasure. True Flame Purple Phoenix Wings, 20%. Bloodline Energy, 2,150 points of Green Dragon Bloodline. Bloodline has been automatically upgraded for the host. 10,000 points of Purple Golden Pupils Bloodline Characteristic Runes. Slow Rune Level 2. Corrosion Rune Level 1, upgradable. Charging Rune Level 1, upgradable. Rune Energy, 270,000 points. Energy of each element. Fire 1,382,000 points. Earth 1,106,000 points. Wood 1,095,000 points. Metal 1,650,000 points. Water 1,487,000 points. Lightning 784,000 points. Wind 712,000 points. Light 0 points. Dark 0 points. Lin Chen's greatest gains this time were his Blood Essence Energy and the Azure Dragon Bloodline Energy, as well as several high-quality Azure rank battle skills. The Azure Dragon arm that had upgraded its bloodline seemed to have turned into a bottomless whirlpool, constantly thirsting for energy. All the heavenly treasures in Lin Chen's spirit receiving ring were completely absorbed by it. And all this energy was transferred to the white ring of light in Lin Chen's dantian. Then, like a clay ox entering the sea, it disappeared without a trace. After this Azure Dragon arm absorbed Ling Tianyu's bloodline energy, it seemed to have entered a state similar to a fierce beast's advancement. It actually swallowed the energy stored in the herbs. But why did the Azure Dragon arm's strength not increase? Lin Shun could not figure out the reason for the Azure Dragon arm's abnormality, so Lin Shun switched to cultivating the Divine Desolate 9 Arts. The Divine Desolate 9 Arts was a peak Azure rank battle skill, an ancient battle skill. It could not rely on the system to help Lin Shun cultivate it to perfection, but could only help him cultivate a part of it. The strength of this battle skill lay in its creativity. It did not have a fixed form, and according to the user's cultivation, the Divine Desolate 9 Arts could be a fist technique, a leg technique, a blade technique, a sword technique, a spear technique, etc. Its miraculous part was that it could perfectly control the battle chi attribute in the cultivator's body. and use it completely depended on the cultivator's creativity. Another 12 hours passed. Lin Shin had more or less digested the growth and changes brought about by the battle. His strength had improved by a bit. I heard that Sister Ruoyan has something important to discuss with me. Let's see what it is first. Lin Shin exited his cultivation state. When he opened the door, Bai Ruoyan was already in front of the door, admiring the scenery outside the student dormitory. Other than her, there were also the Su sisters, Yulin Lin, Lu Lin and Lung Yueqi. So the male students of Class 66 were also waiting for Lin Shin outside. "Brat, you're finally willing to come out?" Lung Yueqi glanced at him and said in a neutral tone. Lin Shin smiled and nodded. He did not reply, but looked at Bai Ruoyan. Bai Ruoyan saw that he was full of energy and was in high spirits, and that he had finished resting, so she went straight to the point. "This time, I came to find you. First, to ask you to help me expel the poison. Second, for the Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm." Speaking of this, Bai Ruoyan's expression was serious. Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm? Yes, this secret realm is one of the 10 known and unsolved secret realms in the spirit state. No one knows its origin. It is located in a new crack in the void, forming a space of its own. There are many secrets that cannot be passed on. In the secret realm, you can even find advanced green level or even peak level cultivation techniques, mental energy cultivation techniques, high-level alchemy hand seals, and many other rare treasures. Other than that, it is also filled with complicated and special energy areas. If you can take away a small portion of the energy in those special areas, it will have a fatal attraction even for Heaven Realm cultivators. Bai Ruoyan's words made the hearts of the young men and women of Class 66 burn with passion. Even people as strong as them had never heard of this Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm. Lin Shin was also shocked by the name of this Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm, causing ripples in his heart. With his unique ability to discover elemental light balls, just the elemental light balls in the secret realm would make him feel great, not to mention the many rare treasures. However, when talking about these, Bai Ruoyan was serious and unmoved, as if she didn't care about the rare treasure she was talking about. Immediately, Lin Shin spread out his hands in confusion. "But with my strength, going into this secret realm would be suicide, right? The special energy areas in the secret realm would have a fatal attraction for Heaven Realm cultivators. That also meant that those who didn't have the strength of a Heaven Realm cultivator would be courting death if they went in. Lin Shin only had one dragon race divine ability that could threaten a Heaven Realm cultivator. The rest of his methods were like a child playing tricks in front of a Heaven Realm cultivator. There was a huge gap between the Earth Fiend realm and the Heaven Realm. Lin Shin dared to fight and kill, but that didn't mean he was arrogant. "No, you won't be courting death if you go in, because this Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm can only be entered by Earth Fiend realm cultivators. Heaven Realm or Battle Soul Realm cultivators will be directly crushed by the ancient restrictions." Hearing Bai Ruoyan's explanation, Lin Shin's face lit up with joy. Chapter 120. Lil Brat, don't be happy too early. Your current combat strength might be enough to be invincible in the Earth Realm, and there aren't many in the same realm that could threaten you. However, the Earth Emanation's Evil King Mystic Realm has already been deciphered by some divination masters and alchemists. They have specially developed a special elixir that corresponds to the ancient restriction. It can temporarily suppress a large portion of the martial artist cultivation. It can suppress a Heaven Dipper realm expert to the limit of the Earth Realm. Therefore, there will be a large number of Heaven Dipper realm experts who have intentionally suppressed their cultivation to infiltrate the Earth Emanation's Evil King Mystic Realm. Their combat strength might be greatly reduced, but they are still able to take on more than 10 ninth level Earth Realm experts. You might be strong, but if you barge in, you will be surrounded by danger and have a slim chance of survival. After hearing this, Lin Shin finally understood. Bai Ruoyan wanted him to deal with those Heaven Dipper realm experts who had their cultivation suppressed. "Little brat, the decision is in your hands. With your current cultivation, there aren't many opponents in the Earth realm who can match you. However, it is impossible for you to have a direct confrontation with the Heaven Dipper realm. If you want to temper yourself, this Evil King Mystic realm will be your best choice. Of course, unless you want to cultivate to the Heaven Dipper realm step by step. Byroyan's brows raised slightly as she stared at him with a smile. Lin Shan couldn't help but roll his eyes. You must know that I won't obediently cultivate. That's why you said that, right? Byroyan covered her cherry lips with her jade-like hand and didn't say anything as she quietly stared at him. Lin Shan muttered for a moment. It wasn't that he didn't have any options to temper himself. However, the Earth Emanation's Evil King Mystic realm that Byroyan suggested was indeed the fastest path for him to grow. Of course, it was also the most dangerous. No one knew how long those Heaven Dipper realm old monsters had lived and how many trump cards they had accumulated. They weren't something that the Earth realm experts could compare to. Life and death are insignificant. If you aren't convinced, then do it. Lin Shan raised his brows and laughed in a free and easy manner. Big brother, we want to go too. The boys at the side listened with yearning and blurted out. Even the girls had looks of anticipation as they looked at Lin Shan with sparkling eyes. No, we're not going to the Heaven Do dynasty this time. You'll only be throwing your lives away if you go. Lin Shan shook his head. His tone was unusually firm. He tossed his identity jade medallion to the class and continued. These are your academic credits. Split them evenly. Remember to leave 70,000 academic credits for Qinghong. She contributed greatly to the Heaven Do dynasty's mission. With regard to Lin Shan's firm answer, everyone felt that it was a pity. They really liked the feeling of going on adventures with Lin Shan. I also want to go to the Earth Emanation's Evil King Mystic Realm. At this moment, Lung Yueqi said something shocking. All the students stared at her in surprise. Lin Shan and Lung Yueqi? What kind of combination was this? Teacher, you're going too? Lin Shan was shocked. He had personally experienced this instructor's strength. It could be said that the current Lin Shan could wipe out everyone in the Earth realm with just the pure strength of the Azure Dragon Arm. But against Lung Yueqi, he didn't have the confidence to win. I see. No wonder you haven't broken through to the Heaven Do realm. So it was because of this. Byroyan glanced at Lung Yueqi with slight surprise and smiled. All right, little brother Lin Shan. This teacher of yours has intentionally stopped her cultivation at the Disha realm for some reason. Her foundation already has the ability to break through to the Heavenly Dipper realm. For this trip, we could be considered to have one more companion. Byroyan smiled. Lin Shan was stunned. He said in surprise, We? Sister Ruoyan, you mean you're going to enter the Evil King Mystic realm with me? Didn't I tell you from the start? Byroyan's fairy-like face would occasionally reveal the craftiness of a young girl. Lin Shan clapped his hands and exclaimed, What's there to be afraid of? With two great beauties protecting me, I'll kill everything in my way. Teacher, why did you hit me? F***CK, you even hit my face. Let me tell you, my brother chun my old waist. Don't go too far. Haven't you heard of it? As long as you have the guts, the instructor will give you maternity leave. I'm sorry, teacher. I was wrong. The male students of class 66 tried their best to hold back their laughter. Even someone as strong as class monitor Lin Shan couldn't handle this legendary demoness. When it was time to bid farewell, everyone was reluctant to part. The Evil King Mystic Realm was extremely far away. They didn't know when Lin Shan would return, especially the female students' reluctant gazes. Even the Su sisters were no exception. This scene even made Lung Yueqi suspect that Lin Shan had the ability to make these two girls who hated men have such strange feelings and attitudes towards him. Speaking of which, you actually dared to use Baldy's and the vice principal's names to make my disciples accompany you to carry out the most difficult mission in the history of the academy. You're quite gutsy, Lung Yueqi said indifferently. Lin Shan smiled awkwardly. He couldn't afford to offend this great aunt. That's because I had enough confidence to bring all of them back safely. Look, after they came back, not only were they unscathed, their cultivation had also increased by a lot. Isn't this a good thing? Oomph. I won't argue with you about this. When are we leaving? There isn't much time left before the evil king mystic realm opens. At the end of her words, Lung Yuechi looked at Bai Ruoyan. After tomorrow, we will leave immediately. Bai Ruoyan saw through Lung Yuechi's thoughts and smiled sweetly. All right, I'll go ask the academy's elders for instructions and explain the reason. Lung Yuechi's beautiful figure leaped up in front of Lin Shun. She was actually able to fly in the air like a Heaven Dipper realm expert, causing Lin Shun to be dumbfounded. This instructor of yours is quite powerful. She can be considered a half-step Heaven Dipper realm expert. Her battle chi can merge with the heavens and earth at any time. She only needs to go into seclusion once to break through. Only extremely talented people can reach this stage and control their own cultivation when to break through. Bai Ruoyan smiled and explained to Lin Shun. She then floated in the air, turning into a wisp of cloud that floated in the air. I'll wait for you here. You can come and find me when you're ready. Lin Shun shook his head and laughed. This Bai Ruoyan was a little too smart. When interacting with smart people, his incomparably handsome mouth had no place to use. After leaving his own dorm, Lin Shun still had 120,000 credits left. In addition to the 200,000 credits awarded by Bald Elder for winning the team competition, he had exchanged all of them for a large amount of heavenly treasures and origin spirit stones. Lin Shun's Azure Dragon Arm had now entered a state where it could swallow the world. Nothing with energy could escape its absorption. It was like a bottomless pit. The origin spirit stones and medicinal herbs that Lin Shun had exchanged were all absorbed by it. Looking at the white halo in his dantian, Lin Shun had a premonition that when his white halo absorbed enough energy, his Azure Dragon Arm might undergo a world-shaking transformation. The next day, Lin Shun and Lung Yuechi were fully prepared and met up with Bai Ruoyan. Big brother Lin Shun. Goodbye, class monitor Lin Shun. Lin Shun, who was floating in the air, heard an earth-shaking shout coming from behind him. He saw that 90% of the seniors in the inner court were standing on the peak of every mountain, waving goodbye to Lin Shun. After experiencing the previous team competition, Lin Shun had fought against all the Heaven's prides of the Heaven's domain. He had already left behind an indelible legend in the academy. There was almost no one who was unconvinced. It wasn't just the desolate region. After a period of time, Lin Shun's story would spread beyond the 24 domains. This was because in their generation, Lin Shun was the number one person in the 24 domains. Chapter 121. Everyone, I'll definitely be back. Lin Shun smiled and waved goodbye. It was the first time that the peak of every mountain in the inner court was filled with people. These martial Dao geniuses were selected from countless people in the desolate region. It was the first time they were so convinced by someone. This kid might become the most outstanding student in the history of our desolate region branch academy. The vice president and the 4 deans walked in the air and looked at the farewell and cheers of the surrounding students. They shook their heads and sighed as they saw Lin Shun off. He has already become one, hasn't he? Have you ever seen these little brats so united? Bald Elder drank a mouthful of strong liquor and laughed heartily. At this moment, an illusory shadow appeared beside the two of them without any warning. It shocked the vice president and Bald Elder so much that they cupped their fists and said solemnly, "Dean, why are you here?" The illusory shadow let out a weak voice. "I'm worried about that girl, Han Yin. The beliefs that she carries are too heavy. I don't know if this evil king mystic realm is a blessing or a curse." Hearing this, the 2 elders paused and sighed deeply in their hearts. Heavenly Qilin Island? Sitting on a cloud that was flying at high speed, Lin Shun was eating his roasted gluten as he asked curiously. The Earth Fiend Evil King Mystic Realm is located in Heavenly Qilin Island. It is said that it is a sea region outside the 24 regions and is isolated from the rest of the world. It is located between the spirit state and the 24 regions. Lung Yuechi explained to Lin Shun. The sea region where Heavenly Qilin Island is located is extremely dangerous. Other than Heaven Star border realm cultivators who can fly, It is almost impossible for mortals to cross the sea region. Next, we might not only face veteran Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators, but also some peerless prodigies from the spirit state. Their combat strength is definitely not comparable to Ling Tianyu, whom you fought before. Once you encounter them in the mystic realm, try not to get into a conflict with them. That will depend on whether they are honest or not. If they dare to provoke me and I don't fight back, wouldn't I be letting down my most handsome face? Lin Shen burped and waved his hand casually. Speaking of which, that arm of yours with the Azure Dragon bloodline seems to be reaching one dragon's strength. Byron, who was flying with the two of them, looked back at Lin Chen's left arm and smiled. One dragon's strength? Tiger Force is a unit of measurement used by mortals to calculate pure strength. For higher levels of body refinement, it was calculated in terms of Dragon Force. One Dragon Force was equivalent to 1,000,000 Tiger Force. However, to a body refinement martial artist, the difficulty is no less difficult than an Earth Fiend breaking through to Heavenly Dipper or a level 4 ferocious beast rising to level 5. Byron stroked her hair and smiled casually. Lin Shen repeated in his heart. After asking Byron a few more questions, he sat down cross-legged and opened the system. System, I want to upgrade the corrosion rune and recharge rune. System received. 140,000 rune energy consumed. Upgrading level 2 corrosion rune and level 2 recharge rune. Upgrade complete. Level 2 corrosive rune can make the host attack with corrosive characteristics effective for Heavenly Dipper realm 9th layer below. Level 2 charging rune. It can increase the host's offensive combat skills by 200%, 300%. A level 2 characteristic rune consumed the same amount of rune energy, but it could bring about a stronger effect. The upgrade of the characteristic runes would be like adding wings to Lin Chen's next move. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. Towards Byron and Lung Yueqi, these two great beauties, none of them were easy to provoke. Lin Shen was unusually quiet in these 7 days, completely immersed in the cultivation of the grand beginning Holy Scripture and the divine desolate 9 arts. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, the three of them arrived at the heavenly Chilan Island after passing through the dangerous and strange sea region. Lin Shen exited his cultivation state and took a look. He could see the entire heavenly Chilan Island from high up in the sky. The heavenly Chilan Island was like a snow-white koi. The island wasn't big. It was only tens of thousands of feet wide. The island was permeated with a desolate ancient aura, as though some ancient civilization had once been built here. There were also some hidden auras on the island. It was obvious that there were experts who had already arrived on the island. Xiao. Lin Shen and company had just arrived on the heavenly Chilan Island when over 10 streams of light landed on the island from 4 different directions. There are many experts. Let's keep a low profile. Byron gave Lin Shen and Lung Yueqi a large black robe. This item could eliminate their auras and make it difficult for them to be targeted. Lin Shen was very curious. He put on the black robe and entered the forest on the island. He immediately found a few attribute light balls scattered on the ground. He bent down and picked up the attribute light balls. The system screen popped up. Host received 120,000 battle chi essence, 21,000 fire attribute energy, 3 green spirit fruits, and 9,000 rune energy. This was a good start. After Lin Shen absorbed the 3 precious rank 4 herbs into the Azure Dragon arm, he did not feel tired at all. He searched the forest madly. Byron and Lung Yueqi weren't surprised. They both knew that this was Lin Chen's personal secret. Previously, when he was fighting with the geniuses of the Sky Region branch, he was so strange. Lin Shen was the first to obtain a batch of attribute light balls. He was in a good mood. He strode forward and arrived at the central region of the heavenly Chilan Island. The central region was a huge basin. It looked like it had been smashed open by a meteorite. In this place, experts were as common as clouds. Some old men were drinking from a pot. Their eyes were languid, and they had a sage-like demeanor. Some middle-aged men and women had cold eyes, filled with killing intent. Some had amiable expressions, and their eyes flashed with light from time to time. There were over 100 people here, and they were all Heaven Dipper Realm experts. In the desolate region, Heaven Dipper Realm experts were basically peak experts. A first-rate force would at most have 2 Heaven Dipper Realm experts. In the entire desolate region, there were less than 20 Heaven Dipper Realm experts. Just the number of Heaven Dipper Realm experts here was equivalent to 5 desolate regions. There were many doubtful and suspicious gazes directed at Lin Shun. His heartbeat quietly sped up. An indescribable feeling of suffocation was like the hand of the grim reaper strangling his throat. Damn it, these old fellows are all suspecting me. I actually have to compete with these old monsters for opportunities in the secret realm. I'm basically dancing on the tip of a knife. Lin Shun swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He was both excited and nervous. Although Bai Ruoyan's black robe could help Lin Shun eliminate his aura, there were still many experts who felt that Lin Shun was unusual. Oomph. Bai Ruoyan snorted coldly and stopped those Heaven Dipper Realm experts who were trying to release their mental energy or battle chi to probe Lin Shun. They looked at Lin Shun in surprise, but Bai Ruoyan blocked in front of him. She didn't expect Lin Shun to be able to not reveal any flaws in front of over 100 Heaven Dipper Realm experts. If it was other Earth Dipper Realm experts, they would instantly be scared out of their wits after being locked on by so many Heaven Dipper Realm experts. Their probing was interrupted. Many experts' eyes narrowed as they felt a little troubled. This woman was extraordinary. Suddenly, ripples appeared in the air. A powerful hurricane instantly wreaked havoc on the entire heavenly Chilan Island. In the center of the basin, a deep spatial vortex opened up. The Earth Dipper realm had officially opened. Chapter 122. The moment the space vortex appeared, many experts jumped up and flew into the vortex at the same time. Some experts didn't make a move and didn't plan to take the lead. There's more than one entrance to the secret realm. After entering, we must be ready for battle at any time. Bai Ruoyan, who was wearing a loose black robe, said in a serious tone. Through his purple-gold eyes, Lin Shun could barely see that her cultivation seemed to have dropped by a lot. She must have taken the secret medicine she mentioned earlier. Hold on tight. After entering, there may be a strong shockwave. Don't be scattered. Bai Ruoyan held on tightly to Lin Shun. Lung Yueqi hesitated for a moment, but still reached out her snow-white hand to hold on to Lin Shen's palm. When the two peerless beauties held each other's hands tightly, it made Lin Shen's heart a little restless. At this moment, Lung Yueqi's voice that carried a trace of killing intent entered Lin Shen's ears. If you dare to do anything that crosses the line, I can freeze you into an ice sculpture in an instant. You dare to threaten me? Lin Shen smiled mockingly. His 5 fingers deliberately kneaded the back of Lung Yueqi's delicate hand. The latter's pretty face instantly turned frosty, and she was about to attack. We're going to. Before Lung Yueqi could get angry, Bai Ruoyan leaped into the space vortex. It was the first time that Lin Shun entered a space vortex tunnel that connected to another space. The first feeling he had was that the world had turned upside down and he had lost his center of gravity. What followed was a raging space hurricane. Bai Ruoyan spread out a faint battle chi barrier, like a coating protecting the 3 of them from being blown away by the space hurricane. The rest of the experts who entered the vortex did the same. They spread out their defenses to protect themselves, allowing the natural flow of the space vortex to push them deeper. However, although Bai Ruoyan's cultivation was extraordinary, a large portion of her strength had already been suppressed by the secret medicine. To protect Lin Shun and Li Hanyan at the same time in this vortex tunnel, she was somewhat powerless. Whoosh! A bright white wind blade flashed by and heavily struck Lung Yueqi's battle chi barrier, cutting it in half. The huge impact sent her flying, and her hand that was holding Lin Shun loosened. Not good. Bai Ruoyan shouted inwardly, not good. The long whip that was flowing with resplendent golden light shot out from Lin Shen's palm and coiled around Lung Yueqi's slender waist. This golden whip was extraordinary. Although it wasn't a high-grade weapon, it was still able to withstand the devastation of the spatial hurricane. Minter Yuechi, activate your battle chi defense. Lin Chun shouted in a deep voice. The moment Lung Yuechi stabilized her body, she waved her hand in the air. A faint cold light condensed into an ice crystallite shield, blocking all the space hurricanes that were coming at her. Lin Chun pulled Lung Yuechi along while Bai Ruoyan blocked the spatial hurricane in front of them. As time passed, the three of them reached the end of the spatial vortex. Passing through the end of the space vortex, the world that was reflected in Lin Chen's eyes was a parallel continent. Mountains, oceans, volcanoes, a world of ice and snow, gloomy forests. This mystic realm had everything one could wish for. Paratrooper number 1 Lin Chun is ready. Lin Chun, who was falling from the sky, laughed loudly. The two girls looked at him in confusion, only to see Lin Chun turn his head around and snicker. Don't worry, I will kill at least 29 people this time. I will lead you to chicken dinner. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder surged. In a dilapidated ancient city, 3 figures appeared. If you had such a move, why didn't you take it out earlier? Lung Yuechi's beautiful eyes stared at Lin Chun, pointing at Lin Chen's golden whip. Lin Chun said seriously, if I had taken it out earlier, I wouldn't have been able to take advantage of you. Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yuechi were speechless. He was the first one who could say that he was taking advantage of others so openly. Be careful. There are several experts nearby. Bai Ruoyan said cautiously. Lung Yuechi coldly glanced at Lin Chun. If it wasn't for the fact that the situation was different, she would definitely beat Lin Chun up. Damn, this is good stuff. Lin Chun didn't feel any sense of danger. He picked up a dozen attribute light balls on the ground. Host received 18,000, 13,000, 21,000 thunder attribute energy points. Activating the purple golden eyes, the strands of energy in this world became complicated and colorful. There are treasures over there. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. Holding the two beauties' hands, he spread out his purple true flame phoenix wings and flew out of the ancient city. Sensing that the experts nearby didn't seem to be interested in this place, Bai Ruoyan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. There was more than one entrance to the Earth Fiend Evil King's secret realm. No one knew who else would enter the secret realm this time. In this place, no one dared to be arrogant enough to provoke anyone. Lin Chun brought the two girls to a mountain peak dozens of miles away from the ancient city. The entire mountain peak was shrouded in dark clouds and lightning flashed. On the mountain peak, there was a 100-meter-tall ancient tree. The ancient tree was blue in color. Every branch and leaf was flowing with electric arcs. It looked very mysterious. Inside the ancient lightning tree, there were 2 fist-sized blue fruits. The fruits were surrounded by crackling electric arcs and contained an endless amount of lightning energy. It was as if 1,000 lightning bolts were striking at the same time. At the top of the mountain, there was a huge azure striped python that was over 200 feet long. The giant python seemed to have sensed the arrival of Lin Chun and the others. It instantly woke up and entered a state of coiling, ready to launch a surprise attack at any time. It dangerously flicked its tongue. Its 2 rank 5,000 Thunder Origin fruits and a peak rank 4 Cyan refining python. It wants to wait until it bears another 1,000 Thunder Origin fruit, and then use the 3 ripe fruits to temper its body and shed its skin to break through to rank 5. Bai Ruoyan was experienced and knowledgeable. She immediately understood the situation on the mountain peak. Lung Yuechi looked at Lin Chun in surprise. How did this brat find this place so accurately? How did he find such treasures? Sister Run, do me a favor and take away those 2,000 Thunder Source fruits. I will get rid of this big guy. Lin Chun excitedly licked his lips. His green dragon arm was already unable to endure the thirst. Looking at him with interest, Bai Ruoyan smiled and said, Okay, no problem. The moment Lin Chun leaped onto the mountain peak and put down Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yuechi, the 3 green striped python let out a sharp hiss and pounced over. Its physical strength was not to be underestimated. This pounce was as fast as lightning. Green Dragon Bloodline Release. The Green Dragon arm appeared in the sky. 980,000 Tiger Force points could move mountains and rivers. With a flip of his hand, he furiously slapped down. It violently hit the head of the 3 green striped python. Boom! Lin Shun waved his Green Dragon arm and slapped down a dozen times. The entire mountain peak shook. Unexpectedly, a ferocious python tail swept out under Lin Chen's crazy attacks. Heavenly Dipper Battle Chi. Golden Battle Chi flowed on the surface of Lin Chen's body. The python tail smashed down, and Lin Shun was sent flying. A crack appeared on his Heavenly Dipper Battle Chi. Lin Chen's strongest defense was actually broken by this triple blue refinement python in one strike. Chapter 123. As a beast that was about to break through to Tier 5, this triple-striped blue python strength was second only to Ling Tianyu, whom Lin Shun had fought before. With a twist of its tail, it coiled around Lin Shun in midair, continuously suppressing his Heavenly Dipper Battle Chi. A fiery spear light pierced through the python's tail. Lin Shin's left arm was holding the Azure Dragon, while his right arm was holding the spear. Lin Shun was about to fight again, but when he looked again, the triple-striped blue python had already turned into an ice sculpture, emitting a chilling aura. Lin Shun looked helplessly at Lung Yueqi. The latter only left him with a cold and elegant back view, leaving him helpless. He still wanted to kill the triple-striped blue python to drop more attribute light balls to replenish his blood chi. Host received 310,000 blood chi, 380,000 blood chi, 450,000 blood chi. Lin Shin picked up the attribute light balls that dropped from the triple-striped blue python's body. His flesh shell's strength increased rapidly, as expected of a beast that's about to break through to Tier 5. This allowed me to gain 150,000 tiger power, Lin Shin exclaimed. His flesh shell strength had already broken through the 600,000 tiger power barrier, but the Azure Dragon arm only increased it by a few hundred tiger power. It wasn't that easy to break through the 1 million tiger power barrier with 980,000 tiger power. Lin Shin picked up the lightning attribute light balls crazily. The surroundings of the lightning tree were filled with lightning attribute light balls. In one breath, he gained another 300,000 lightning attribute energy. The power of his Divine Wilderness 9 arts had increased by another fold. Little fellow, catch. Byroyan waved her hand and tossed the 1,000 Thunder Source fruits to Lin Shun. His Azure Dragon arm wrapped around the 2,000 Thunder Source fruits and absorbed them into the Azure Dragon tattoo. What tyrannical energy, but my Azure Dragon arm is able to absorb them all. Lin Shin was shocked. The lightning attribute energy in his Azure Dragon arm was absorbed by the Azure Dragon arm, which swallowed the world. Even Byroyan was extremely surprised. Without any supplementary medicine, even ordinary Heavenly Dipper Realm experts would not dare to directly absorb the rank 5,000 Thunder Source fruit. However, his left arm was actually able to absorb 2 of them in one go. Looks like you've had quite a fortuitous encounter. Lung Yueqi looked at Lin Chen's left arm in amazement. I'm just lucky. Compared to you two beauties, it's just some small tricks. A certain Lin smiled modestly. Before the 3 of them could survey their surroundings, a deafening explosion came from the east, accompanied by a powerful hurricane. A large number of experts are fighting. One intense battle. Byroyan and Lin Shun were the first to react. The former exclaimed in surprise. Are we going over? Lung Yueqi asked indifferently. Her appearance was piercingly cold, like a blooming ice rose. Her beauty carried a cold sharpness. Of course I'm going. How could I not want a treasure that's delivered to my doorstep? Lin Shin laughed with lofty sentiments. The true flame, purple phoenix wings, raised purple flames that filled the sky. The 3 of them transformed into a stream of light in the horizon and swept towards the east. Evil King's secret realm, 3780 Li outside sky, Thunder City. In a lake filled with light, 72 glowing white oars reflected a pure radiance that was unique between heaven and earth. The glowing white oars were round in shape. They were sparkling and translucent, overflowing with light. Every single one of them was emitting a pure and intense energy fluctuation. Thousands of feet above the lake, more than a dozen figures were crisscrossing with each other. Their colorful battle chi transformed into ferocious beasts, divine weapons, and even fist and palm strikes. They were all attacking each other with unstoppable momentum. These people who were engaged in a fierce battle were all Heaven Dipper realm experts. Even if they suppressed their cultivation at this moment, with their understanding of the battle chi domain and heaven and earth's spiritual energy, they could still fly in the air like Heaven Dipper realm experts. However, their flying speed was far inferior to themselves at their peak. At this moment, these experts were engaged in an earth-shattering battle because of the rare ores that were born under the lake. The Heaven Dipper realm experts who entered the Evil King's secret realm this time were all below Heaven Dipper realm stage 5. If they exceeded Heaven Dipper realm stage 5, their battle chi cultivation would be too strong. Even the secret medicine couldn't suppress it to the boundary between Earth Dipper realm and Heaven Dipper realm. Therefore, the cultivation of these experts were very close. No one was able to end the battle in a short period of time. Lin Chun and the two girls quietly approached. They were hiding in the broken cliffs hundreds of miles away from the lake. Sister Ruin, did these Heaven Dipper realm old monsters lose their minds? There's so many rare ores. Why don't they just divide them among themselves? Why do they have to engage in a chaotic battle here? Lin Shan was hiding behind the cliffs and was very puzzled. Wen Bai Ruoyun and Lung Yuechi saw the treasure in the lake clearly. They exclaimed in unison, "Glowing white aurora stone. What the hell is that?" Lin Chen was puzzled. He used his purple-gold pupils to roughly examine it and discovered that this rare ore was a 5th grade item. Although a 5th grade ore was very precious, wasn't to the extent of causing so many Heaven Dipper realm old monsters to fight over it. Little brat, the glowing white aurora stone is an extremely rare type of ore. It contains the rarest light attribute energy in the world. In terms of value, a fist-sized glowing white aurora stone can be compared to a 5th grade mid-grade weapon or a peak grade cultivation technique. Baira Oyan covered her mouth and chuckled. She then added, "Now do you know why they are fighting? 5th grade mid-grade?" Lin Shan was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. If the value of a single glowing white aurora stone was so high, then wouldn't 72 glowing white aurora stones be comparable to a peak grade cultivation technique? Lin Shan only had one peak grade cultivation technique, the Divine Wilderness 9 arts that he obtained by chance, and the 9 calamities of creation that was still unknown in grade could be peak grade green. Without a doubt, if these 72 glowing white aurora stones were to be placed in the outside world, it would set off a world-shaking bloody storm. It wouldn't be strange to incite countless Heaven Dipper realm experts to fight to the death. Wait a minute. The energy attribute of the light attribute? A horrifying thought suddenly flashed through Lin Chen's mind. But before he could use his purple-gold pupil to investigate again, 2 rays of saber chi that looked like the setting sun, carrying a domineering aura that could swallow the stars, suddenly slashed towards him from 1,000 zhang away. "We have been discovered. Be careful." Bairuoyan beckoned with her white hand. A needle-like light shot out from her slender fingers and instantly pierced through the saber light. Bang! However, the saber light's exploding battle chi scattered across the entire mountain, turning the cliffs into a hornet's nest. In the air, 300 meters away, Lin Chun and the 2 ladies were walking on air. Where did this fellow come from? How dare he try to get his hands on the glowing white aurora stones? Trash at the 3rd level of the Earth realm. The 3 Heaven Dipper realm experts each took a side and stopped fighting. They were seething with killing aura and were staring at Lin Shun and his group like tigers eyeing their prey. When they realized that Lin Shun, who was at the third level of the Earth realm, actually dared to enter the evil monarch mystic realm, they were astonished and sneered. Third level of the Earth realm? He was equivalent to cannon fodder in this place. Are we going to participate in the battle, or are we going to retreat? Bai Ruoyan asked Lin Chun indifferently. Their opponents might have the advantage in numbers, but she wasn't a simple person either. The value of the glowing white aurora stones might be extraordinary, but to Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan, it wasn't very attractive. They each had their own goals in entering the evil monarch mystic realm. Fight! These glowing white aurora stones are mine. Lin Chen's eyes flickered with intense battle intent and excitement. Chapter 124. The green dragon arm was surging with boundless and violent energy. Because Lin Shan was worried that the green dragon arm was too big, he specially shrunk it to around 3 feet. The true flame purple phoenix wings on his back flapped as he charged towards the 3 Heaven Dipper realm experts. N. Body refinement martial artist. The 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts exclaimed in unison. Battle chi enveloped the entire sky as they prepared their killer moves and were about to make a move on Lin Chun. Lung Yueqi's slender hands held onto the ice bow as a crescent-shaped, exquisite crystal bow appeared in her hands. She then shot out over a dozen icy arrow lights that could pierce through the clouds and break the moon. Bai Ruoyan's fingertips flicked as thin needle-like rays pierced through the air. It was even more terrifying than Lung Yueqi's attack and caused the 3 Heaven Dipper realm experts to be overwhelmed with shock. The strength of these 2 ladies isn't to be underestimated. Damn it, why would such formidable enemies appear at this critical juncture? Before they could react, the corner of Lin Chen's mouth curled into a sly smirk. His figure rapidly turned, and his true flame purple phoenix wings flapped towards the direction of the lake. Not good. This kid's target is the White Blaze Aurora Rock. A black-robed old man had a gloomy expression. His aged palm was flowing with the eternal black-yellow battle chi, which had the power to suppress the ancient times. In a flash, he grabbed over. The black-yellow giant palm imprint, which was like 10,000 galloping horses, pierced through the air and grabbed at Lin Chun. Bang! The black-yellow giant palm imprint was penetrated by Ruoyan's rays. Such terrifying attack power caused the old man to have a slight change in expression. The other 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts noticed Lin Chen's intention and wanted to stop him. However, Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yueqi's attacks arrived in an instant. The entire high altitude's temperature suddenly plummeted and was bone-chilling. Some of the Heaven Dipper realm experts who were in an intense battle saw a 3rd-level Earth realm expert actually bypassing the expert's battlefield and plunging towards the lake. With a casual slap, all sorts of battle chi attacks were launched. A blazing eagle formed from blazing battle chi attacked Lin Chen's back. His true flame purple phoenix wings reversed in the air, allowing Lin Chen's figure to dodge numerous attacks in a Z shape. What? How can a 3rd-level Earth realm martial artist be so fast? There's something strange about the wings on his back. This doesn't seem like a treasure that an Earth realm martial artist can wield. Many experts were scared out of their wits. Lin Chun was less than 20 miles away from the lake. With a thought, the true flame purple phoenix wings on Lin Chen's back abruptly expanded to nearly double their original size, and a streak of purple flames swept across the sky. The higher his body refinement realm, the stronger the power of the true flame purple phoenix wings. This speed surge, even the other Heavenly Dipper realm could not react. Lin Chun dived into the lake. Not good. That brat went into the lake. Many Heaven Dipper realm powerhouses' expression suddenly changed, hurriedly stopped the battle. After diving into the lake, Lin Chun took a closer look. The incandescent Aurora Stone presented a completely different scene. The interior of the incandescent Aurora Stone emitted a light similar to an elemental light ball. However, the energy fluctuation was something Lin Chun had never felt before. I can't be wrong. This elemental energy fluctuation should be light elemental energy. Lin Shun waved his left arm agitatedly. The azure dragon arm swept through the clouds and took all the incandescent aurora stones into his azure dragon arm. Light elemental energy was a brand new elemental energy that Lin Shun could obtain after the Heaven Dao Attribute Picking Systems version 2.0 update. Lin Shun's 9 Calamities of Creation cultivation technique just happened to contain the 2 extremely rare battle chi attributes of light and darkness. Damn, why can't I take them out? When Lin Shun took all the incandescent aurora stones, he realized that he was actually unable to absorb the light elemental light balls inside. Brat, get out here! A yellow-robed old man waved his sleeves gently, and a majestic giant energy hand engraved with the word kill pierced through the clouds and struck down violently. Bang! Water splashed up hundreds of feet high from the lake. All the Heaven Star Border Realm experts spread out almost at the same time and surrounded the entire lake in a circle. They were still fighting a moment ago, but after Lin Shun took away the incandescent aurora stones, they immediately united against a common enemy and targeted Lin Shun. Don't move. If anyone dares to move, I'll blow up these lousy things. Amidst the water splashes, Lin Shun stood in the air with his azure dragon arm, holding 72 incandescent aurora stones in one hand. Blown up? All the Heaven Star Border Realm experts looked at each other and almost laughed out loud. You're willing to blow up these? These are incandescent aurora stones. A true heavyweight treasure can only be found by chance. You dare to blow it up? I'm going to shit upside down. A few Heaven Star Border Realm experts laughed maniacally at the sky. Lin Shun's lips curled into a crazy smile. Charging Rune, Divine Wilderness Lightning Explosion. Lin Shun's palm injected a trace of battle chi into the incandescent aurora stones, and the entire or suddenly shone brightly. With one hand, Lin Shun decisively threw it at the middle-aged man who said shit upside down. Bang! An earth-shattering explosion sounded, and the incandescent aurora stones really exploded in front of all the experts. The explosion bloomed with white energy light in the sky, and the scattered energy light beams covered the space within 1,000 feet. It was beautiful like a fairy scattering flowers. Such power caused the experts whose cultivations were suppressed to tremble in fear. The expert who was almost caught in the center of the explosion couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. This power wasn't much inferior to a Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 1 attack. So beautiful, Byron couldn't help but praise. Even Lung Yuechi was stunned. What? The 17 Heaven Star Border Realm experts stared at the white light beams in the sky and were so shocked that their jaws almost fell off. He actually dared to blow up the incandescent aurora stones. Just that explosion, just now, was equivalent to destroying a mid-tier Tier 5 weapon. Treasures of this grade were considered the most precious treasures of the top forces in the wilderness region. How many of these veteran Heaven Star Border Realm experts could own one? Come on, please start your performance. Show me how you shit upside down. Lin Shun smiled domineeringly and held the second incandescent aurora stone in his hand. Looking at his actions, he could blow it up again at any time. The middle-aged Heaven Dipper Realm, who was arrogant and domineering just now and threatened to shit upside down, suddenly swallowed his saliva fiercely. He didn't expect Lin Shun to be so ruthless to blow up such a rare treasure. The other 16 Heaven Star Border Realm experts couldn't wait to chop the arrogant middle-aged Heaven Star Border Realm expert a few times. His provocation caused this brat to blow up such a precious treasure. But to Lin Shun, he had no choice but to blow it up in the current situation. If he didn't intimidate these old monsters and was besieged by them, even Byroyan and Lung Yuechi wouldn't be able to block 17 Heaven Star Border Realm experts who had their cultivation suppressed. Hi, friends on the other side of the mountain. How are you guys doing? Lin Shun smiled innocently and waved his arm to greet the Heaven Star Border Realm experts who were at the cliff of the mountain. They were so scared that they quickly retreated. Good my ass. You use the incandescent aurora stone as a bomb? Even a lunatic wouldn't be as crazy as you. Suddenly, Lin Chen's eyes lit up. His purple gold eyes suddenly saw 3 dazzling white light balls floating at the location where the incandescent aurora stone exploded. Attribute light balls. They were light attribute light balls. Damn it, I can only get the attribute light balls out by blowing up this thing. Lin Chen was so happy that he almost jumped up. Chapter 125. Damn it, so the attribute light balls can only be taken out by exploding this thing. While Lin Chen was excited, a crazy thought emerged in Lin Chen's mind. Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan had grave expressions. The current situation was extremely dangerous as Lin Chen was surrounded by 17 Heaven Dipper Realm experts. If they were to charge in, they might attract the attention of all the Heaven Dipper Realm experts. At this critical moment, a certain Lin Feng suddenly yelled out, "Hey, the old ghost over there. Let me ask you, am I handsome?" Lin Chen pointed at a gray-robed old man. When he heard this strange question, he couldn't help but be stunned. F***CK. You actually dare to hesitate. Without saying anything else, Lin Chen circulated the divine desolate 9 arts and poured in the thunder attribute battle chi before throwing it out again. The second incandescent aurora stone fell like a meteor as it pierced through the sky and suddenly exploded. No! All the Heaven Dipper Realm experts burst out with heart-wrenching screams. Bang! The aftermath of the incandescent aurora stone's explosion swept across the sky again. It was a magnificent scene as one after another of the incandescent aurora stones bloomed, causing everyone to be dumbstruck. It was just a few breaths of time. He actually exploded the second incandescent aurora stone. This was a madman. Lin Chen confirmed again that there were 4 attribute light balls floating in the space with a second incandescent aurora stone exploded. Little bastard, I will slaughter you. A red-skinned middle-aged man with a sinister and fiendish scar on his face. Say that again? I think 2 blossoms aren't enough for you. You want 3 blossoms, right? Lin Chen raised the third incandescent aurora stone. Hidden within the calm smile on his face was a trace of excitement that bordered on madness. Long Qi, you better calm down. If you anger this kid again, he will explode again. All the Heaven Dipper Realm experts instantly glared at the naked man. They had truly witnessed Lin Chen's ferocity and madness. No wonder this kid dared to enter the evil King Mystic Realm at the 3rd level of the Earth Realm. He was a living example of a madman. Are we going over? Lung Yueqi gathered her strength and asked Bai Ruoyan, "Wait, the little fellow seems to have other plans. Let's wait and see." Bai Ruoyan saw that Lin Chen's eyes were brimming with an indescribable confidence. "Little brother, don't bother with these uncouth men. How about this? Let's talk about your conditions. What will it take for you to hand over the incandescent aurora stones? Although you have helpers, there are so many Heaven Realm cultivators here. You can't possibly keep all these incandescent aurora stones for yourself, right?" An old man in a white robe, who looked like an immortal, stroked his beard and said with a smile. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. "Cut the crap and answer my question first. Am I handsome or not?" Lin Chen smirked wickedly. He played with the 2 incandescent aurora stones in his hands, causing the white-robed old man to shudder in fear. The latter hurriedly cupped his fists and said with a smile, "Handsome, of course, little brother is handsome. Since this old man has lived for 1,000 years, little friend is the most handsome man this old man has ever seen. In the future, you will definitely dominate the world and achieve hegemony." This old man's tone could be said to be very respectful and mushy. This caused the Heaven Realm cultivators beside him to have goosebumps. I can see that you are very sincere." Lin Chen nodded his head very pleasantly. The white-haired old man's face lit up. He cupped his fist and asked politely, No, this old man is just speaking the truth. However, this old man wants to ask little friend on behalf of everyone, about these incandescent aurora stones. Don't ask. Don't ask. If you ask, I will King bomb you. It has to be a two-shot bomb. From now on, I'm the only one who can ask. If I am satisfied with your answers, I will return these broken things to you. Lin Chen's face instantly turned very ugly. With one sentence, he made the other party swallow his words. It's your turn, big browed boar. Yes, it's you. The one who doesn't wear underwear. What are you looking around for? Let me ask you, am I handsome? Another Heaven Realm cultivator was chosen by Lin Chen. The other party's face flushed red. He gritted his teeth and said shamelessly, handsome, very handsome. Handsome to the point of dropping dregs. Then let me ask you, am I handsome or the king of single machines? Lin Chen asked another question that confused everyone. Who is the king of single machines? Of course, you are handsome. Afraid that he would explode, 2 more incandescent aurora stones. The other party gritted his teeth and squeezed out a few words. What? You actually think that Brother Machine is not as handsome as me? Are you King looking for trouble? Who would have thought that Lin Shan would fly into a rage for no reason? The incandescent aurora stones in his hand emitted a strong light again. No. Brother Machine is handsome. Brother Machine is handsome. The other party hurriedly said while sweating profusely. If these 2 incandescent aurora stones were to explode, even if he didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. But even an extraordinary woman like Baira Oyan was amused by Lin Shan. He actually used the incandescent aurora stone to play around with this group of veteran Heavenly Dipper Realm experts. These Heaven Realm cultivators of the older generation were all respectable and respected figures in the 24 domains or some region in the spiritual state. One sentence from them could decide the life and death of tens of thousands of people. When had they ever been humiliated like this? However, they had no choice. Everyone could see that this kid wasn't a soft-footed shrimp. If he was forced into a corner, he might really explode all the aurora stones. If that happened, everyone would lose everything. Where did this kid come from? Damn, he has asked everyone once, and he still hasn't finished. Why don't we charge forward and snatch the incandescent aurora stones? Then you go first. He can throw 2 or 3 incandescent aurora stones at once. Let's see who gets blown up. Many Heaven Realm cultivators secretly communicated with each other using telepathy. Although they had united to target Lin Shan, they were enemies and didn't want to trust each other, let alone take the lead. Moreover, Lin Shan had 2 powerful women by his side. In this chaotic situation, no one dared to make the first move. Boom! Another earth-shattering explosion occurred. Someone unlucky had angered Lin Chen again, and this time, 2 incandescent aurora stones exploded at once. Damn it! I can't take it anymore. This kid doesn't plan to let go of these incandescent aurora stones. If you guys don't go, then we brothers will. The 2 one-eyed swordsmen were furious. The sabers in their hands jumped out as if they had a mind of their own, shining with dazzling saber energy. The 2 of them slashed out saber energy in the shape of an angry rock. The rock spread its wings and soared into the sky. The saber energy lingered in the air like a storm and struck down on Lin Chen's head. I'll go to hell. 2 incandescent aurora stones were infused with thunder battle chi. Lin Chen threw them into the air, and the vast light energy was suddenly released. I don't care anymore. It belongs to whoever snatches it. This kid didn't plan to hand over the incandescent aurora stones in the first place. 17 Heaven Realm cultivators swarmed forward. Lin Chen's eyes were sharp, his hands were fast. He threw out 10 incandescent aurora stones consecutively. They exploded one after another, and an earth-shattering energy storm swept across the entire lake. A purple flame flashed across the storm. Lin Chen's laughter resounded throughout the sky. So high, I feel like my life has reached the peak. Chapter 126. After detonating 12 incandescent aurora stones, Lin Chen opened up a gap to escape from the encirclement of the Heaven Dipper realm experts. You two go first. Leave the rest to me. Lin Shin secretly transmitted a message to the two ladies. He then used the purple phoenix wings to escape into the sky, and his speed was 30% faster than before. Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yueqi nodded with tacit understanding and immediately retreated. Chase after him. He is only at the 3rd level of the Earth realm. This old man doesn't believe that he can maintain this speed for long. In terms of cultivation, we are 100 times stronger than this kid. This old man doesn't believe that he can maintain this speed for long. Chase. Mother of Asterisk, how dare he play with this old man for so long? Once I catch this kid, I will personally skin him alive. When the 17 Heaven Dipper realm experts were faced with a choice, none of them chose to chase after Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yueqi. They all chose to chase after Lin Shun. There wasn't just one entrance to the Evil King Mystic Realm. There were plenty of entrances to mystic realms outside the 24 regions and within the spirit state. In the southern part of the mystic realm, there was a primitive, desolate land that was overflowing with vitality. Right now, 2 beautiful ladies were flying in the sky. The leader was a young lady with 2 ponytails who was lively and cheerful. Her mouth would occasionally curl up into a devilish smile, which was charming and witty. The young lady smiled wittily at her senior sister beside her. Big sister, why did you reject the pursuit of Sunflower Palace's young master Xiao Kuan? The long-haired lady had picturesque facial features and a slender waist. She had a gentle temperament and was natural and unrestrained. She flirtatiously rolled her eyes at the young lady and spoke with slight anger. Lass, why are you asking when you already know the answer? That Xiao Kuan is neither a man nor a woman. He looks exactly like a woman and doesn't have any manly spirit. The young lady and her senior sister were fooling around and giggling. Then what type of man does senior sister like? Powerful? Handsome? The beauty stroked her fine black hair and smiled sweetly. Me? The man that I like should be powerful, wise, and able to look down on the world. He should be able to remain calm in the face of danger, humorous, unique in his actions, able to hold his own, and fight for supremacy. Only such a man is worthy of being my sweetheart. Giggle, senior sister. How could there be such an outstanding man? How many men in the spiritual state are as outstanding as you described? You must be dreaming. The girl with 2 ponytails smiled like a flower. The long-haired beauty playfully punched her a few times and rolled her eyes. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a rare splendor as she muttered to herself. Unfortunately, we have never had such an outstanding man among our peers in the spiritual state. I dream that one day he will come and marry me while riding on colorful clouds. I'll take your dog life. Before the woman could finish her fantasy, several thunderous roars broke the silence in the sky. Acting tough is like the wind, always by my side. Ha ha ha, you can't catch up. Are you angry? Come and hit me, you coward. If you have the ability to steal the incandescent Aurora Stone, then come and fight me one-on-one if you have the ability. If you're a man, then let's fight for 300 rounds. You bastard, you dare to steal but don't dare to fight? Bah, that's a bunch of idiots fighting each other. This handsome guy is just someone who helps you decide who you belong to. Besides, how can it be called stealing when I'm a handsome guy? What I did is called outsmarting. Outsmarting, do you understand? Uncultured. The young man's unbridled laughter resounded through the sky. The 2 girls trembled and turned their heads to look. In the sky, the young man was wearing a silver robe and a pair of purple flame wings. He was bathed in flames with a confident and devilish smile on his face. His speed was as fast as lightning, piercing through the clouds in the sky. What was even more shocking was that there were more than a dozen Heaven Star Realm Masters behind him. They spread out in a net-like formation and attacked him. However, the young man was able to escape with ease every time. He even threw out a meteor-like light beam from time to time, causing earth-shattering explosions. This young man is being chased by 17 Heaven Star Realm Masters. The long-haired beauty covered her red lips. What kind of heaven-sent thing did he do to deserve this? Senior sister, look. He seems to be holding the legendary incandescent aurora stone. The twin-tail girl said excitedly. Before the two girls were shocked by the number of incandescent aurora stones in Lin Chen's hand. Lin Shun grabbed with one hand and threw it at the two Heaven Star Realm Masters who were blocking his way. You want to catch up with me? Eat *T. Bang. Boom. When the incandescent aurora stone exploded completely, the two girls were stunned on the spot. That was a level 5 rare mineral treasure, the incandescent aurora stone. It was a top-tier treasure that could only be found by chance, even in the sex and the spiritual state. How could it be blown up by this young man? The Heaven Star Realm Masters who were about to surround Lin Shun were dizzy from the explosion. They had just used their battle aura to defend themselves, but Lin Shun escaped again. His speed was unfathomable. Damn it! If it weren't for the mystical realm, this young man's speed would be equivalent to a Heaven Star Realm Stage 1 to Stage 2. I can catch up with him in 3 breaths. Stop wasting time. Hurry up and think of a way to catch him. This young man has blown up 20 incandescent aurora stones in less than an hour. If this continues, he will really blow up. The old seniors who were usually respected and calm had lost their composure at this moment. They were all flustered and exasperated, and they were furious. Hearing their curses, the two girls opened their red lips slightly and stared at the young man who was about to fly towards them in disbelief. This young man had already blown up 20 incandescent aurora stones. What a waste of heaven's treasures. Whoosh! The sound of wind breaking could be heard. Lin Shun swept past the two beauties and was only a few feet away from them. Oh, there are girls here. When the two sides brushed past each other, Lin Shun jokingly teased and winked at the two girls coquettishly. Immediately, a gust of wind swept across the sky. The long-haired beauty trembled slightly, as if she had been electrocuted. She stared blankly at Lin Chen's back as he left. Regardless of the background of the two girls, the 17 Heaven Star Realm Masters ignored the two girls and chased after Lin Chun crazily. No matter how the 17 Heaven Star Realm Masters exerted their strength, their speed was slower than Lin Chun from the beginning to the end because of the suppression of their cultivation. He is actually playing with these Heaven Star Realm seniors? The girl with 2 ponytails said incredulously. Her senior sister immediately reacted after a short pause. Let's go and have a look. Lin Chun traversed almost 1/20th of the Mystic Realms area and bombarded the Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators who were chasing after him. He blasted out all the light elemental energy balls from the incandescent aurora stones, causing them to float in the void. At the beginning, there were 17 Heaven Star Realm Masters who were chasing after Lin Chen. 5 of them were seriously injured by Lin Chen's bombardment and retreated. 4 of them gave up because they had exhausted too much battle chi. This was because they had already gone through a big battle before chasing after Lin Chen. If they continued to chase after him, they wouldn't even have the capital to snatch the treasures. Instead, they might lose their lives. Chapter 127. In the end, only 8 Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators chased after Lin Chun relentlessly, as well as 2 young prodigies. Their explosive attacks along the way had attracted countless experts. When they saw Lin Chun using the incandescent aurora stone as a one-time consumable, they were all dumbfounded and flabbergasted. This chase lasted for a day and a night. Lin Chun used up most of the elixirs he had prepared and maintained the highest speed of the purple phoenix wings. In the end, he even lost track of the 2 young prodigies. After he blew up 40 incandescent aurora stones, there were still 3 Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators who insisted on chasing after him. He decisively took out 9 incandescent aurora stones and detonated them, severely injuring the 3 of them. Finally, when no one was chasing after Lin Chun, he returned the way he came and started to collect all the light energy attribute light balls he had blown up along the way. Host received 6,100 light energy points, 5,200 light energy points, 6,000 light energy points. While Lin Chun was returning the way he came, he kept collecting attribute light balls. The light energy began to surge for the first time. The nine-color battle soul in Lin Chen's dantian started to glow with pure light battle chi for the first time, showing an unprecedented growth trend. Every incandescent aurora stone contained between 2 to 4 light attribute light balls. Lin Chen returned the way he came and obtained 590,000 light energy points. The Divine Wilderness 9 Arts Cultivation Method and the 9 Calamities of Creation Mental Cultivation Method had opened up a new domain. With the purple phoenix wings, as long as it wasn't a real Heaven Dipper Realm expert, there weren't many people who could match up to Lin Chen in speed. And in this mystic realm where cultivation was suppressed, there were no real Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators. One day later, Lin Chen returned to the lake where the incandescent aurora stones had appeared for the first time. This time, his purple gold eyes activated the highest level of purple lightning generation. The scene in front of Lin Chen was completely different. The light of the purple golden eyes pierced through the bottom of the lake. At the bottom of the lake, which was 10,000 meters deep and then went all the way down to 17,400 meters, there were dazzling auroras hidden in the bottom of the lake. The pure white auroras were completely covered by the abundant energy crystals at the bottom of the lake. As expected, I didn't see wrongly. There's still something mysterious at the bottom of the lake. Lin Chen's heart raced. When he entered the lake, he had become the target of all the Heaven Dipper Realm cultivators. He only caught a glimpse of the deeper depths of the lake and didn't have the time to investigate. He was almost sure that there were even more incandescent aurora stones at the bottom of the lake bottom. An aurora. Lin Chen dived to the bottom of the lake at full speed. He wasn't sure if there were any experts that had entered the Evil King Mystic Realm that were stronger than him in terms of appraising. After reaching the bottom of the lake, Lin Chen took out the Black Abyss spear from the system and suddenly thrust it downwards. Boom! Lin Chen activated the Divine Desolate 9 Arts. His spear moved at an extremely fast speed. The multicolored spear, Aurora, was like a peacock spreading its tail. It pierced through the stars and shattered the moon, crushing the hard rocks at the bottom of the lake. Lin Chen, who was pushing forward at full speed, dug out a tunnel that was 10,000 meters deep. Large amounts of lake water poured in. If not for Lin Chen's body being as strong as a ferocious beast of the desolate land, he would have long been crushed by the water pressure. After spending close to an hour, Lin Chen finally dug out a tunnel that reached his destination. Below the bottom of the lake, at a depth of 17,000 meters, Lin Chen withstood the water pressure of the lake and stepped on the beautiful energy crystal ores. These were all spirit stones of heaven and earth. They were more like small-scale spirit veins. Lin Chen was unmoved. It was because of these energy crystal ores that he was able to conceal the existence of large amounts of incandescent aurora stones. Let me see how much stock there is here. Activating the Azure Dragon Arm, it transformed into a large dragon claw. Lin Chen slammed down with his palm. A berserk energy that was like 10,000 horses galloping instantly penetrated the energy crystal ores and shattered them. Ka. Voila! The water flowed, and Lin Chen was pushed deeper into the lake. After passing through the energy crystal ores, rays of dazzling white aurora light shot into the sky like divine clouds, almost blinding Lin Chen on the spot. The light penetrated through the ground, causing the entire lake to emit a dazzling light. It was like a miracle. Damn it so much. Forget it. Let's take all of them first. Lin Chen couldn't care too much. Under the circumstances where he couldn't open his eyes, he used his mental power to detect the location of the incandescent aurora stones. He stored all of them into the spirit receiving ring, filling up the 3 spirit receiving rings that he carried with him. There are about 400 incandescent aurora stones, 7 or 8 times more than before. Ha. Let's go. I don't have to worry about my light energy now. After filling up the spirit receiving rings, Lin Chen decisively left. He turned a blind eye to those energy crystal ores. Maybe those energy crystal ores could be used to forge a large number of third-grade weapons, and their value would be extraordinary. However, Lin Shun didn't have the extra space in the spirit receiving ring to store them. If he delayed here, he would be besieged by experts and his life would be in danger. After leaving the lake, Lin Shun spread his wings and flew high. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared in the sky. 3 days later, in the Bloodpool Forest, Lin Shun and Bai Ruoyan met. Lin Shun had the Star Jade left by Bai Ruoyan. It was easy for them to find each other if they wanted to. Brother Lin Shun, you're really bold. You even dared to provoke 17 Heaven Realm experts. And those 72 incandescent Aurora stones, did you really destroy them all? Bai Ruoyan smiled and sized up Lin Shun. She found that his battle chi attribute seemed to have improved a little. She couldn't help but exclaim in her heart. This Brother Lin Chen's way of doing things was completely unpredictable. This strange transformation was probably related to him blowing up the incandescent Aurora stones. I blew them all up. It's really fun to destroy such valuable things. Lin Shen smiled wickedly. No matter how expensive the incandescent Aurora stones were, it couldn't be compared to the 9 calamities of creation that he wanted to cultivate. He was determined to get the light attribute battle chi. No external object could compare to the growth of his own cultivation. You're really a strange person, Lung Yueqi exclaimed. Everyone had their own secrets. She didn't intend to investigate Lin Chen's background. She just felt that his way of doing things was probably the only one in the spiritual state. Let's go. While you were away, Sister Lung Yueqi and I have already found out the location of the 2 targets we're going to next. Bai Ruoyan floated up. The 3 of them flew into the sky and turned into 3 streaks of light on the horizon. 7 days later, in the western region of the Evil King's secret realm, when the 3 of them traveled through the distance between the eastern region and the southern region of the secret realm, they collected a lot of natural treasures. Most of them were absorbed by Lin Chen's Azure Dragon Arm. The gains of these 7 days finally allowed Lin Chen's Azure Dragon Arm to reach a state of saturation. Even Lin Shun was looking forward to what kind of changes would happen when the time came. The 3 of them arrived at the border of the western region. An ancient shrine stood in front of everyone's eyes. It was thousands of feet tall and pierced through the clouds. It had a majestic aura, like a vast divine object that couldn't be profaned. It carried the aura of the ancient civilization. Chapter 128. The 3 of them arrived a few thousand miles away from the divine palace and were resting in a desolate forest. Black-white heaven essence fruits and 9-heart ice lotus. While resting, Lin Shen listened to Bai Ruoyan's explanation and couldn't help but look at the 2 ladies with astonishment. Yes, the black-white heaven essence fruits are what I need to quickly recover my cultivation. The 9-heart ice lotus is a heaven and earth treasure that little sister Yueqi needs to break through her cultivation technique. It is even rarer than the incandescent Aurora rock. Bai Ruoyan nodded and turned to look at the ancient divine palace in the distance. She spoke in a serious tone. The black-white heaven essence fruits are in the divine palace in front. There are plenty of experts who are here for this treasure. I only need 2 white heaven essence fruits for this trip. If I get the rest, there will be a hot potato. Don't worry, big sister Ruoyan. I will definitely get it. After all, I am here. Lin Shun was brimming with confidence. His words made Bai Ruoyan smile. There are experts suddenly attacking us. Be careful. Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan reacted almost at the same time. Lin Shen wiped his eyes with a single hand while his purple-gold pupils glowed with radiance. What is this? After activating his purple-gold pupils, Lin Shen saw a darkness that covered the sky. It was like a crack in the void that was torn apart by heaven and earth, surging with a darkness tide that could devour the heaven and earth. 300 meters above the void, a flag that was fluttering with violent winds swept across the void, engulfing the boundless darkness and enveloping the heavens. Strike it down. Lin Shen yelled out and stomped on the ground. Earth attribute battle chi burst out from the ground and condensed into a 300 meters thick earth wall, blocking in front of the black flag. In a third-level Earth realm, Ant actually dares to enter the evil monarch mystic realm? Which rascal dares to make a move on the prey of I, the ghost masked swordsman? Are you courting death? An old man and a young man were walking on air. The young man was wearing a black robe and had half a sinister demon mask on his face. He was carrying a black and red sword. The sword had yet to be unsheathed, but it already had the power to sever the void. It stirred up the surrounding airflow and formed a saw shape with a sharp edge that shook the heavens. Just like the two female heavenly talents from a few days ago, this heavenly talent of the earth realm from the spiritual state was many times stronger than Ling Tianyu. The other gray-robed elder sized up Lin Shun and the others with a sinister look. The battle chi in his palm transformed into streaks of viper-like aura, ready to strike at any time. Suddenly, Lin Shun said excitedly, "You guys help me stall these two guys, I want this flag." Boom! Lin Shun didn't even spare a glance at the two of them. The Dark Abyss spear appeared in his hand with a flash, and the purple phoenix wings unfolded in the air. As the spear rotated, it produced numerous fire wheels of battle chi that smashed horizontally towards the pitch-black flag. "You dare to ignore us? You are courting death." The young man who called himself Ghost Masked Swordsman sneered in anger. His palm shook slightly, and his sword was unsheathed. The sound of a dragon being unsheathed burst forth. A black-red light radiated from the black-red sword as it absorbed the stars. The sword light was like a waning moon in the night sky. When the sword was swung, it was like a half-moon in the blue sky. The sword light swept across the land, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 lands. His swordsmanship, sword grade, and battle chi cultivation were far superior to the geniuses of the Sky Domain branch. The so-called Ling Tianyu, in front of this ghost-masked swordsman, didn't even deserve to carry his shoes. The elder pushed out his sleeves, and 10 battle chi pythons that were more than 100 feet long suddenly attacked Lin Shun from the sky. The sound of wind breaking resounded. Lung Yuechi drew her ice bow, and the two girls attacked together, facing the attack head-on. On the other side, Lin Shun used the Dark Abyss spear and activated the Genesis Holy Scripture. A few snow-white soul energy sword lights pierced through the void, causing the pitch-black flag to tremble slightly. The tip of the spear rotated and smashed backwards, turning the entire sky into a fiery spear wheel. The pitch-black flag was smashed to the ground head-on. Chi! The flag shook violently a few times, and 3 pitch-black attribute light balls fell out. Black attribute light balls. This was the first time Lin Shun had seen it. As expected, this flag is not an ordinary item. It already has a certain level of consciousness. The most important thing is that its attribute is the rarest dark attribute. Lin Shun was overjoyed, but he didn't realize that his Dark Abyss spear was quietly transforming at this moment. The flag shook violently a few times, then flew up again, trying to escape. "Want to run? Stay here obediently." Lin Shun held the spear in a reverse grip and activated his purple golden eyes to predict the direction the flag would escape in. He activated all the pure strength in his body and threw the Dark Abyss spear angrily. The tip of the spear suddenly shot out, piercing the pitch-black flag that was about to fly into the sky. "Try my new move, Divine Wilderness 9 Arts, Light's Fury." Lin Shun raised one hand above his head like an overlord lifting a cauldron. Countless aurora lights gathered in the center of his palm, condensing into a 100 feet large ball of light energy. Again, recharge rune. When he used the 200% recharge rune, the ball of light energy expanded by a bit. As the recharge rune increased in intensity, Lin Shun suddenly threw it out. As the ball of light energy flew out at extreme speed, the surface was decorated with circles of energy ripples. It contained the universe and hid the sun, moon, and stars. With a wave of his hand, The dark abyss spear flew back to Lin Chen's hand as though it had a mind of its own. However, that pitch-black flag couldn't be dodged. It was blasted directly. Bang! The violent and ferocious energy storm wreaked havoc and constantly expanded like the bloody mouth of a giant beast. It even affected the other 4 individuals in the other 2 battlefields. Such tyrannical power. This kid is actually able to execute such a combat skill at the 3rd level of the Earth Realm. Bai Ruoyan looked at Lin Shan with astonishment. This was the first time she was surprised by this move. His cultivation technique might be second only to mine in terms of grade. Lung Yueqi compared her heart. The ghost masked swordsman and the gray-robed elder were equally shocked. If this kid was able to have such strength at the 3rd level of the Earth Realm, wouldn't he be considered one of the top figures in the spiritual state if he were to enter the 9th level of the Earth Realm? Young master, we shouldn't fight recklessly today. We have to conserve our strength and enter the shrine. The gray-robed elder sent a secret message. The youth of the ghost masked swordsman took a deep look at Lin Shan and nodded. And this kid still has some strength left. These 2 ladies aren't to be underestimated. Let's retreat for now. Now is not the time to fight recklessly. The 2 of them retreated silently. Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan didn't chase after them. On the other hand, they looked at Lin Shan. The remnant power of the light fury gradually dissipated. Lin Shan activated his Heaven Dipper battle chi and charged into the remnant power storm. He single-handedly held onto the slightly damaged pitch-black flag. The flag was clearly engraved with the words Dark Soul Flag. It was overflowing with baleful aura like a demon god. Hee, this is a treasure. You can use it when I have the chance to repair it. Lin Shan checked it once and made sure that there weren't any remnant darkness attribute light balls. He then kept it in his spirit receiving ring. Immediately after, Lin Shan bent down and picked up the scattered black attribute light balls on the ground. Host received 13,000 points of darkness energy, 11,000 points of darkness energy, 17,000 points of darkness energy. Within Lin Shan's 9-colored battle soul, another layer of pitch black and deep energy circle was formed. His final battle chi attribute, the darkness attribute, was now complete. Chapter 129. From the Dark Soul Flag, Lin Shan obtained 680,000 dark attribute points. The value of this treasure had already exceeded the 4th tier. It was probably at the 5th tier. Even in the Heaven Dipper realm, it was considered a high-grade treasure. As expected of the Earth Fiend, Evil King's secret realm. I've only entered for a short while, and I've already collected all 4 of the light and dark attributes that are extremely difficult to find in the outside world. Lin Shan said excitedly. The light and dark battle chi attributes were the strongest battle chi attributes in the 9 calamities of creation mental cultivation method. Just from the light's fury that Lin Shan used just now, one could see how terrifying its power was. Furthermore, Lin Shan still had over 400 incandescent aurora stones in his spirit receiving ring. If he absorbed all of them, his attributes would increase by another level. However, the explosive power of the incandescent aurora stones was not to be underestimated. Lin Shan planned to make full use of its value. How many more secrets do you have? Your improvement speed is godly. From the moment you entered the secret realm until now, it's obvious that you're much stronger than before. Even someone as arrogant as Lung Yueqi couldn't help but gasp in amazement at Lin Shan. This student of hers really had boundless potential. Every time you felt that you had seen his limits, you would unconsciously realize that it was only the tip of the iceberg. I'm starting to suspect that you might be a saint or saintess from some race. Lung Yueqi shook her head and laughed. Lin Shan couldn't help but feel puzzled. What is a saint or saintess? The 2 girls looked at each other, and Bai Ruoyan said with a smile, Forget it, I'll tell you in advance. With your growth speed, you'll know sooner or later. Saint or saintess is a title that the world gives to the young geniuses of certain factions. Young people with this title are the most terrifying existences in the 9 provinces. Bai Ruoyan seemed to have thought of something and smiled sweetly. You should have already met the two girls who came to my city lord's mansion to inquire about your situation. They're most likely sanuses from some race. Lin Chen recalled the moment and blurted out in surprise. Ning Qing Xian and Ning Qing Xue? Yes, at the beginning of the primal chaos. An eternal sacred fire was born between heaven and earth. This sacred fire possessed the fundamental power of creation and destruction. At that time, there appeared the first batch of humans who could bathe in the sacred fire and accept the baptism of the sacred fire. They were also one of the most powerful human forces in the 9 regions. The powerhouses who came out of their clan were all supreme existences who could destroy the world. Speaking of this, a complicated expression appeared on by Ruoyan's usually calm and collected expression. Suddenly, Lung Yueqi took over the conversation, and a struggling expression appeared on her cold and elegant face. And those who stand out from the rest of their clans, the young prodigies who are most suitable for the holy fire baptism, will be appointed as the holy son and holy daughter. Ruoyan looked at her curiously and nodded. That's right. These saints' sons and saintesses have the potential to stand at the peak of the human clan in the 9 continents. Of course, I don't know about the regions outside the 9 continents. It's said that outside the 9 continents, there's a whole new world of human beings. Within the 9 continents, there are different numbers of hidden sects that can bathe in the sacred fire. They don't appear in the world, but once they do, it's earth-shattering. After listening to the 2 women's introduction, Lin Shun sincerely sighed at the vastness of this world. It turned out that there were still so many places in the 9 continents that had not been engraved with his legend. No way. I must show off until I leave the 9 continents. It seems that the 2 of you aren't simple to know about these things. I think I'll have a chance to know about the story of the 2 beauties in the future. Lin Chen grinned. The future he was referring to was naturally when he had enough strength. Ruoyan covered her mouth and smiled. Lung Yueqi just shook her head and laughed. It said that there are the heavenly treasures you need in the shrine, right? Then let's set a small goal and help you get the black and white universe fruit and 9 hard ice lotus. Lin Shun rubbed his hands together and walked towards a shrine with the 2 women. When he got closer to observe, Lin Shun discovered that the grandeur of this shrine was far beyond his imagination. Jade pillars reached up to the sky, and jade tiles cut through the structure. It was dazzling and magnificent. The shrine's material was as if it was made of black iron. No matter from afar or close up, it was as if a coiling dragon was lying down. There were even a few buildings floating in the void like stairs. It was like a miracle. At the entrance of the shrine, heroes gathered and experts were as numerous as clouds. On the surface, there were only more than 20 Heaven Dipper Realm experts in the Waste Realm. However, there were nearly 300 Heaven Dipper Realm experts gathered at the entrance of shrine. Without a doubt, all the tyrants and reclusive old monsters hiding in the 24 domains had all surfaced in this Earth Fiend Demon King mystic realm. There were also some top geniuses and sect experts from the spiritual state. So many experts. Oh my god, when the time comes to fight, I'll feel so good just by picking up a tribute light balls. Lin Chen swallowed his saliva and rubbed his hands excitedly. Beside him, Lung Yueqi and Ruoyan looked solemn. Sister, look, it's that young man from before. In the southeast direction of the shrine's entrance, one of the 2 beautiful women, a girl with 2 ponytails, Ling Ziki, said in surprise. Sure, I saw him long ago. But right now, the shrine's matter is more important. If Master finds out, how am I supposed to face others? Senior Sister Yun Manqing whispered in a low voice. She glanced at her master hurriedly and was relieved after finding nothing out of the ordinary. So Sister found out long ago. Are you looking for a beating? As time passed, another 20 Heaven Dipper Realm experts arrived at the shrine's entrance. Everyone was silent or secretly communicating with each other using telepathy. In the Earth Fiend Demon King mystic realm, everyone's cultivation was suppressed. Under normal circumstances, there was no absolute difference in strength. Lin Chen noticed a detail. This time, many of the Heaven Dipper realm experts who came in groups were standing on the ground. Those who came alone were flying in the sky. Byra Oyan sensed Lin Chen's confusion and secretly communicated with him using telepathy with her ethereal voice. It's actually not the first time for some of the people here. They know the secrets of the shrine. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the shrine is extremely thin. It's almost barren to the point that it's almost non-existent. Therefore, it's impossible to fly in there. All battles and movements have to rely on one's own battle chi. Lin Shun was suddenly enlightened, and a touch of ecstasy appeared in his heart. My green dragon arm and characteristic runes don't need battle chi to activate at all. On the contrary, after these guys enter, their combat power will be greatly reduced. This time, entering the shrine is very advantageous for me. Just as Lin Shun was in ecstasy, the shrine's 10,000 feet tall entrance, decorated with dense spatial patterns, began to vibrate violently and slowly opened. At this moment, all the experts were waiting with rapt attention. Chapter 130. The moment the door of the shrine opened, many experts rushed in. Let's go. Lin Shun and the two ladies entered the shrine together. More than 300 people rushed into the shrine in a few breaths' time. After everyone entered, the door of the shrine closed. It was silent, as if it had been like this since ancient times. Inside the shrine, when the door opened, the experts arrived at a spacious ancient hall. What's going on? There's no spiritual energy in this shrine. Why is it so strange? Some of the Heaven Star Border Realm experts who entered the shrine for the first time were shocked. They felt as if their connection with heaven and earth had been completely cut off. Without the space of spiritual energy, they quickly fell from the void and landed on the ground, unable to fly. In the Earth Star Border Realm, one's battle aura was connected to heaven and earth. In the Heaven Star Border Realm, one's battle aura merged with heaven and earth. When one's battle aura merged with heaven and earth, it could replace many of the original senses of the human body. For example, in the Heaven Star Border Realm, one could release their battle aura to explore a wide area without relying too much on the naked eye. However, this shrine was extremely lacking in spiritual energy. It was equivalent to cutting off all the advantages of the Heaven Star Border Realm, leaving only one's vigorous battle aura. In such a situation, everyone's battle aura strength was greatly reduced. The experts who had some understanding of this temple did not lose their composure, but they were all extremely cautious. In the ancient shrine, the light was bright and the fire was bright. Everyone could clearly see the structure of the entire shrine. The terrain was extremely high, and at the end of the shrine, there were rows of armored skeletons lined up side by side. The skeletons of these skeletons shone with a faint green, jade-like glow. Their strength was not to be underestimated. When the experts who arrived at the ancient shrine saw those skeletons, their expressions were very solemn. On both sides of the ancient shrine, there were many skeletons. The skeletons of the deceased were crystal clear and as hard as Xian ores. It was obvious that the strength of the owner when he was alive was also extraordinary, but he still died here. Without the space of spiritual energy, I have to try my best to reduce the consumption of battle aura. Lin Shin was thinking in his heart when he suddenly opened his mouth wide. Near the skeletons on both sides of the ancient shrine, there were attribute light balls scattered all over the ground. Other than that, there were attribute light balls under the feet of the skeletons. Cyan white, red, gold, green, yellow. There were all sorts of elemental balls of light of various colors. They were dazzling and colorful, and Mr. Lin's mouth was about to water. This was practically a treasure trove. That's too much. Mother asterisk her. I'm afraid I'm going to die on the spot. Ha ha ha. Lin Shen excitedly licked his lips, causing Bai Ruoyun and Lung Yuechi to look at each other in confusion. Boom, boom. Dust billowed and the wind howled. The earth trembled. and the empty eye sockets of the skeleton soldiers lit up with ghostly flames. Trespassers shall die. The two gigantic skeletons at the end of the rear row of the skeleton soldiers let out a hoarse and obscure voice, as if they had traveled back in time to judge everyone's life and death. All the powerhouses were shocked. More than 500 skeleton soldiers stepped out neatly with fierce momentum. They were divided into 5 teams and rushed toward all the Heavenly Dipper Realm powerhouses. Bang! Swish, swish, swish. Rip! The moment the Battle Chi attacks were activated, countless powerhouses heard the commotion and moved. Afterimages crisscrossed within the ancient hall. In this space where the spirit Chi was depleted, the powerhouses were unable to fly and instantly engaged in a chaotic battle with the skeleton soldiers. Every skeleton soldier's strength was comparable to a 9th-level Earth Realm expert. Even the weapons they were equipped with were high-grade weapons and had decent combat strength. In this environment where everyone had to be on guard, even the Heavenly Dipper Realm experts who had their cultivation suppressed would have to put in some effort. Lung Yuechi drew her ice bow and froze a skeleton soldier with 2 ice arrows. Lung Yuechi was beside Lin Chun and transmitted a message softly. It seems like these fellows don't intend to work together and want to exhaust each other's strength first. These Heavenly Dipper Realm experts came from all over the world. Even if they worked together on the surface, they wouldn't trust each other. Everyone would rather fight alone. Vira Oyan seemed to have expected this, as her beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of strange light. Her slender fingers flicked out a stream of light, which silently penetrated the armor of a skeleton soldier, causing it to fall to the ground and die. You two break out first. I will be right behind you. Lin Shin bent down to pick up a few attribute light balls and spoke with a smile. It seemed like they were used to Lin Chin's unique way of doing things. The two ladies weren't surprised and nodded calmly. The green dragon arm transformed into a huge green dragon claw. Lin Shan flipped his hand and slammed furiously, killing 3 skeleton soldiers in a row. With such terrifying combat strength, many of the nearby Heavenly Dipper Realm experts cast fearful glances over. In this space where the spirit Chi was depleted, this child's combat strength was still so ferocious. He was truly a formidable opponent. These skeleton soldiers still have attribute light balls after their deaths? Lin Shan casually picked up 2 white attribute light balls from the back of 2 skeleton soldiers' heads. Host has obtained 4,000 points of rune energy. The system's light screen made Lin Chin's eyes light up. If a single attribute light ball was worth 2,000 points of rune energy, then wouldn't these 500 over skeleton warriors be worth a huge amount of rune energy? There are treasures everywhere. This young master shall slaughter a wave of these nondescript fellows first. Lin Chin's eyes flickered with a ruthless expression as though he had nothing to lose. Since there are so many attribute light balls around, let me try out my new move first. In an instant, Lin Shun circulated his battle chi and raised a pitch-black battle chi wheel in his palm. He then furiously slammed his palm out. Divine Wilderness 9 Arts, Dark Devour. The battle chi wheel that was over 100 meters long spun like an abyss and rapidly expanded from within the skeleton soldiers. The skeleton soldiers that were enveloped by the dark attribute battle chi were silently crushed by the dark attribute battle chi energy. Chi! A bone-chilling sound echoed. Lin Shin's palm strike had frightened 5 to 6 Heavenly Dipper Realm experts to the side. Lin Shin's palm strike had instantly turned 10 skeleton soldiers into ashes. Such a strange battle chi. This child is only at the 3rd level of the Earth Realm and is actually able to execute such a combat skill. No wonder he dares to enter the Evil King Mystic Realm. Even in the outside world, this old one might not be able to defeat this kid unless the Mystic Realm's cultivation suppression is removed. Many of the experts were shocked. Lin Shin took large strides and picked up the multicolored attribute light balls. He then frenziedly circulated the Divine Wilderness 9 Arts to attack the skeleton soldiers. Lin Shen's nine-color battle soul violently surged with a large amount of battle chi, while his palm flashed with countless types of radiance. The wind attribute battle chi surged into the sky, splitting the air into thousands of blades and collapsing the airflow. The water attribute battle chi was like a violent dragon emerging from the sea, sweeping through the desolation and destroying the mountains. Wind rend, water roar. The light attribute battle chi floated in the sky, while the energy balls that were radiating in all directions fell from the sky. Hundreds of thunderbolts turned into the wrath of the heavens and cleaved into the skeleton soldiers' bodies, causing a storm to erupt. Light fury, thunder explosion. The world-shaking commotion caused hundreds of Heavenly Dipper Realm experts to retreat in fear. Lin Shun was like a madman as he executed the Divine Wilderness 9 arts with all his might. He unscrupulously circulated the 9 calamities of creation, which shocked everyone so much that their mouths were twitching violently while they were dumbfounded. Chapter 131. Damn it, this kid is a lunatic. He actually recklessly squandered his battle chi in this place. Only death awaits him. What a perverted destructive power. His battle chi is boundless and doesn't seem like a third-level Earth realm martial artist at all. This brat is actually so strong. It seems like when we were robbing the incandescent Aurora Rock a few days ago, he wasn't completely helpless. The Heaven Dipper Realm experts might be surprised at Lin Chen's destructive power, but most of them were mocking him for his stupidity. To recklessly squander his battle chi in such a situation, wasn't he just testing the waters and benefiting others? It was pure stupidity and recklessness. Host has received 20,000 rune energy, 48,000 battle chi essences, 198,000 chi and blood energy. Host has received 30,000 rune energy, 98,000 battle chi essences, 188,000 chi and blood energy. Lin Shen's green dragon arm swept up all the attribute light balls that were scattered on the ground and picked them up. He then laughed maniacally towards the sky. Ha ha! Awesome! Awesome! Come on, let's do it again. Hearing Lin Chen's maniacal laughter, many of the Heaven Dipper Realm experts couldn't help but mock him. Some of them even rushed to the back of the ancient hall. Yun Manxing, who was breaking through the encirclement, was silently observing Lin Shen. When she saw how reckless he was, she couldn't help but feel disappointed. This wasn't how she expected her sweetheart to behave. Not good. Senior sister, be careful. Ling Ziki suddenly exclaimed. She, who was breaking through the front row, saw 4 to 5 skeleton soldiers appearing from the back. They leaped up and attacked Yun Manxing. The beautiful lady's expression turned cold. Her palm glowed with radiance as she was about to launch a counterattack. Roar! Bang! A flaming dragon-like battle aura swept past, burning and destroying 8 skeleton soldiers. It also destroyed the skeleton soldier that had sneakily attacked Yun Manxing. Lin Shun, who was wearing a silver robe, skimmed past Yun Manxing's back like a ghost. When a youth skimmed past, Yun Manxing inadvertently saw that the youth had an evil and confident smile on his face. Yun Manxing was shocked by this fleeting glimpse of him. Not only did Lin Chen's battle chi not weaken due to the intense battle just now, it was actually increasing in a straight line and breaking through. Not only that, but his flesh shell also glowed with a majestic and domineering aura, and his power became even more condensed and heavy. Lin Chen's footsteps were like the wind. After he killed many skeleton soldiers, he went to the corner of the hall where the skeletons were and started to claw at the air. Rumble. In less than a few breaths of time, Lin Chen's battle chi cultivation burst forth with an extremely powerful aura, sending out battle chi fluctuations that could break through any shackles. His cultivation level was at the 4th level of the Earth realm. He made a breakthrough. This young man was actually cultivating? But what was the principle behind this? Without spiritual energy, his body refinement and battle chi cultivation will soar in a straight line. Yun Manqing's beautiful face was filled with disbelief. This young man was not ordinary. He was definitely not as reckless as everyone thought. On the contrary, it was the exact opposite. He was plotting something, just like that day when she saw him playing around with 17 Heaven Realm martial artists so easily. Very good. After absorbing all the attribute light balls from these experts, I have just reached the 4th level of the Earth Realm. My flesh shell's pure strength already has 830,000 tiger strength, and my green dragon arm's maximum strength has reached 990,000 tiger strength. Lin Shun kept his battle chi with satisfaction. There weren't many battle chi essence attribute light balls left in this ancient hall, and he couldn't waste his battle chi recklessly anymore. With a stomp of his feet, Lin Shun leaped into the air. His right hand was like a meteor hammer, smashing onto the skull of a skeleton soldier, causing the bones in its body to crackle. With a whip kick, he crushed the skeleton soldier, instantly killing it in 2 moves. Lin Shen's steps were like wind as he leaped like a cannonball, destroying the skeleton soldiers like a hurricane. Brandishing both his fists and kicking with a single leg, he eliminated a skeleton soldier in 2 to 3 moves. When Lin Shen's green dragon arm had 550,000 tiger strength, he was already able to fight against a regular 9th level Earth Realm martial artist. Right now, with just his body refinement, he already had 830,000 tiger strength and 990,000 tiger strength. With his green dragon arm, killing these skeleton soldiers was as easy as picking up grass. Such strength. Not only is his battle chi foundation strong, even his body refinement is considered outstanding among the younger generation. Just as Yun Manqing's beautiful eyes were glowing with splendor, she was staring at Lin Shun without blinking. Just as she was engrossed in watching, an old woman extended her palm and congealed a battle chi hand, grabbing onto her and pulling her back into the camp. Manqing, how could you make such a low-level mistake? Now is not the time to be distracted. We have to deal with those 2 skeletons together. The gray-robed old woman berated. Yun Manqing quickly apologized and focused on the opponent in front of her. She temporarily gave up on observing Lin Shun. Due to Lin Shen's frenzied attacks, most of the experts were able to conserve quite a bit of energy. However, they weren't able to break through the secret passage at the back of the ancient palace hall and were obstructed by 2 skeleton generals that were around 15 meters tall. The 2 skeleton generals were wielding bronze greatswords that were the size of a panel. Every time they brandished the greatswords, the sword chi would force back over a dozen Heaven Dipper Realm experts. The strength of these 2 skeleton generals was comparable to a genuine 1st level Heaven Dipper Realm expert. If they were outside the secret realm, any Heaven Dipper Realm expert present would be able to suppress them with a flip of the hand. But in this evil King Mystic realm where one's cultivation was suppressed, and in this deity temple space where the spiritual energy was dried up, these 2 skeleton generals were truly formidable opponents. Their armors are incomparably tough. We need to concentrate everyone's attacks. Otherwise, none of us will be able to pass through. The young man from the demon-faced swordsman suddenly yelled out coldly. No one wanted to reveal their trump cards in this place. They had unknowingly reached a tacit understanding, which was to eliminate the skeleton generals together first. 9 heavens. Sword technique. While the experts were discussing their countermeasures, the 2 skeleton generals moved together and retracted their swords to accumulate power. Obscure murmurs could be heard as their swords were like rainbows in the 9 heavens, slashing out horizontally and sweeping across all directions. Attack together. Otherwise, everyone will die. No one knew who roared out, but the Heaven Dipper Realm experts' eyes became unified and murderous at this moment. Their bodies' vigorous battle chi erupted like a raging tide. Piercing Heaven Finger, Fighting Phoenix Claw, Silver Fire Burning Heaven, Golden Meteorite Sword, Ghostly Shadow, 7 Killing Saber, Sword Light Crisscrossed, the saber chi was like a tide. Fist Light and Palm Prints covered the horizon. Streaks of divine light were like heavenly flowers, blooming one after another. Numerous high-grade battle techniques were displayed at this moment. No one retreated. They were vigilant against the surrounding people and used their true strength to fight head-on with the two skeleton generals. Even if their cultivation was suppressed and the spirit chi was depleted in this space, relying on their own solid foundation, more than 300 experts took on the full attack of the two skeleton generals. Bang, bang, bang. The ground shook violently, and the temple swayed a few times. Smoke and dust rose everywhere. A group of Heaven Dipper realm experts fanned out and surrounded the entrance of the secret passage at the end of the ancient temple. Roar! Those who trespass into the temple shall die. When the majestic waves of battle chi were released, many people's expressions changed slightly. They were still alive after gathering the ultimate killing moves of so many experts. Chapter 132. Many experts gritted their teeth and gathered their strength, circulating their majestic battle chi. Their auras surged as they prepared to expend another wave of battle chi to prepare their second killing move. Rip! The wind whistled. A green light flashed across the sky and fell from the sky. A young silver-robed figure broke through the smoke and dust, and a domineering azure dragon claw violently hit the skull of the skeleton general. Bang! The earth-shattering collision sounded like a meteorite crashing to the ground. The airflow collapsed in an instant. The azure dragon claw slapped the skeleton general that was about to counterattack, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard from its body. Break! The azure dragon claw spun in the air, and Lin Shun twisted the skeleton general's head off on the spot, taking the attribute light ball at the back of its head. Host received 50,000 rune energy. Divine Wilderness 9 Arts, Light's Fury. The white light in his palm was dazzling, and it gathered into a ball of battle chi. Lin Shun, who was spinning in the air, threw it out angrily. With a light's fury, the other skeleton general at the end of its flight was also blasted to pieces, and a runic energy attribute light ball rolled down. Lin Shun calmly put away the second attribute light ball. Then, he put away the azure dragon claw and faced the crowd with a calm expression. He patted the dust off his shoulder and pointed at the world. Everyone, your cooperation is not bad. This handsome guy is very pleased. I hope that in our next adventure, we can also perform such a beautiful combination technique. Seeing Lin Shen's smug look, some of the Heaven Strength Realm experts were furious. The veins on their foreheads were exposed, and they gritted their teeth. Combination technique, my ass. You little loudspeaker. Do you have no shame at all? You brat made picking up heads sound so clear-headed and refined. Where's your shame? Where's your shame? Where's your shame? I suddenly feel like killing this brat. Count me in. I've never seen someone so shameless. If we give him a few more years, won't he be riding on our heads? Brotherly, forget it. Don't be rash. After all, this brat killed so many skeleton soldiers for us. He saved us a lot of energy. Let him go. Among the many experts, only a few experts realized the crux of the problem. Yun Manqing's master, the gray-robed old woman, slowly raised her head and looked into the sky. Her old eyes narrowed, and a bright light flashed across them. I didn't sense him at all when he charged down from the sky, at a distance and position that can't be reached by a movement technique. Yin Manqing and Ling Ziki looked at each other. The anticipation in the former's beautiful eyes grew stronger. Lin Shun was empty-handed. Under everyone's gazes, he found Bai Ruoyan and Lung Yueqi in the crowd. Why are you always the center of attention wherever you go? Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? Can't you keep a low profile? Lung Yueqi's face was frosty as she shouted coldly. This mission concerned her entire life. She did not want her team to become the target of public criticism and lose this one and only chance. I also want to keep a low profile. However, his strength did not allow him to do so. Even if my strength allows it, I, handsome Zhang, won't allow it. Sigh, this damned handsomeness. Being too handsome is so annoying. Lin Shen's 3 consecutive sighs made Lung Yuechi so angry that she almost attacked him on the spot. It was Bai Ruoyan who spent a lot of effort to calm her down. With your temper, I really wonder how you managed to survive until now. Bai Ruoyan rolled her eyes at Lin Shun. She was so beautiful that he shuddered and looked at the sky gloomily. Maybe it's because I'm handsome. The two skeleton generals fell to the ground. The entrance to the secret passage at the end of the ancient palace was unobstructed. However, no one dared to take the lead. In this strange environment without any spirit chi, the range and distance that could be explored was very limited. If an emergency happened in the secret passage, no one could guarantee that they would be able to retreat safely. Cough, cough, cough. Since everyone is more cautious, let this old man and the others take the lead. At this moment, a kind-looking old man in linen clothes slowly walked out with a walking stick. Beside him, there were 5 Heaven Realm old men, 3 men and 2 women. Moreover, they were all very young. They looked like they were in their early 30s. When the old man in linen clothes appeared, the expressions of the demon-faced swordsman and Yun Manxin changed. It's old ghost Tianji. I didn't expect him to come to the evil king's secret realm this time. This old guy is actually not dead yet. I'm afraid he came for that thing. I didn't expect the spiritual state's older generation to come out as well. It seems that we only need to follow them on this trip to have some soup to drink. The Heaven Realm experts from the spiritual state all had ulterior motives. Lin Shen narrowed his eyes. He recognized the old man's identity as a fortune teller at first glance. At the same time, his purple gold eyes also detected a bit of dangerous aura coming from the secret passage. Therefore, he definitely wouldn't take the lead. Elder Tianji's expression gradually turned serious as he stared at the entrance of the secret passage. He grasped the air with one hand, and an otherworldly painting scroll floated in the air. Elder Tianji held a brush with one hand and used blood as ink to decorate the painting scroll. The brush danced quickly, and a mysterious ancient diagram was quickly drawn from the painting scroll. Other than the person involved, no one would be able to understand the obscure and profound lines. The brush suddenly stopped and decorated the heavenly secrets. The seal rotated and the chi gathered, and the soul traveled through the painting scroll. Elder Tianji pushed the painting scroll forward with both hands. Ripples of light flashed out of the painting scroll and spun rapidly in the air. The heavenly secrets of the world for eternity. The immortal guides the way to detect danger. The heavenly flowers show supernatural power, using the Lord's technique to peek at the path to immortality. The heavenly brush floated in the air. Without anyone controlling it, the quaint heavenly brush began to draw on the painting scroll automatically. It moved swiftly, dazzling the onlookers. This must be the fortune teller's life tool. This old senior's level is like heaven and earth compared to Yin Jiwen, whom I met before. The difference between the bright moon and the firefly is like the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Shen was shocked. Through his purple gold eyes, he could even see some obscure threads formed by the heavenly secrets of the heavens and earth being gathered by this Elder Tianji. The brush stopped, and the scroll fell. Elder Tianji quickly put away the painting scroll and carefully peeked at the contents of the painting scroll. The 5 young men and women protected him with all their attention. Ha! Good. The heavens reward those who work hard. A mere mechanism is nothing. Let's go. After Elder Tianji observed the contents of the painting scroll, he laughed wildly. Leaning on his walking stick, he took the lead to enter the secret passage with the 5 people. The rest of the Heaven Dipper Realm experts looked at each other and followed closely behind. Let's go too. Bai Ruoyan looked solemn. Lin Shen suddenly pulled her soft hand and smiled mysteriously. Sister Ruoyan, don't worry. The show hasn't started yet. Why? Bai Ruoyan was puzzled. She didn't want to miss the opportunity to find the black and white universe fruits first. Have you forgotten who I am? Lin Shen smiled cheekily. Bai Ruoyan suddenly understood. Looking at the unruly Lin Shen, Lung Yuechi was helpless and could only wait for orders. After most of the people entered In less than 15 minutes, a deafening explosion came from the secret passage. Chapter 133. There's a mechanism inside? How did you know? Lung Yuechi looked at Lin Chen curiously. The latter replied in an infuriating manner. You want to know? Give me a kiss, and I'll tell you. The former's expression instantly turned extremely cold, and a cold and beautiful smile appeared on her cold and arrogant face. Is that so? Bring your face closer. Lin Shan was so frightened that he took a few steps back. At this moment, a round of applause sounded. You're indeed a genius. It seems that my disciple Manxing didn't misjudge you. Following you is the wisest choice. Young man, may I ask where your teacher is from? Which sect are you from? What's your name? The gray-robed old woman and a group of people walked to Lin Chen's side, and the former asked with a kind smile. Oh, my name is Lin Chen. I'm from the Black Horse Club, and I'm the club's top dog. I'm self-taught, and people call me Shirleji. People call me handsome little black dragon, and I'm extremely handsome with a black spear in the waves. May I ask what advice you have for me, senior? Lin Shun cupped his fists and said a bunch of flowery things, but he didn't reveal any details. Senior sister, these two sisters are so beautiful. You have to work hard. Suddenly, Ling Ziki, who was beside the old woman, smiled mischievously. If you talk any more, I'll sew it up later. Yin Manxing was embarrassed and angry. Her cheeks were flushed, and she glanced at Lin Shun from the corner of her eyes. Seeing that Lin Shun wasn't willing to reveal any details about himself, the gray-robed old woman smiled. Lin Shun is indeed an extraordinary person. I won't beat around the bush. This shrine is extremely dangerous, and having more allies means more help. We can split whatever we get in the shrine equally. How about we work together? Lin Chen shook his head and waved his fingers. No need. Senior, your side is powerful. Other than my good looks, I don't have any other advantages to work with you. The two purple-robed youths behind the old woman were so angry that their veins popped out. Why is this person so shameless? After speaking, Lin Shun counted with his fingers. There's still one breath left. 2 more explosions. Rumble. Just as Lin Shun finished speaking, 2 more earth-shattering explosions came from the secret passage. All right, sister, let's go. With a smile on his face, Lin Shun waved his hand and led the 2 girls into the secret tunnel. What an amazing person. The gray-robed old woman's eyes lit up, and she waved her hand. Let's follow him. Lin Shun and the other 2 passed through the secret passage without any obstructions. All the traps inside had been completely triggered. The 3 of them followed closely behind the main group and did not encounter any danger at all. Their strength was preserved the most. After passing through the secret passage and arriving at the second temple, the atmosphere was completely different. Inside the second temple, the light was dazzling and colorful. In the space that was devoid of spiritual energy, there stood a towering ancient tree that was full of vitality. It was deeply rooted in the center of the temple. The towering ancient tree had white branches and black leaves, looking very mysterious. The branches were swaying with vitality, and the entire body was covered with streamlined lines, flowing with unprecedented vitality. It was more than 10,000 feet tall, with lush leaves, like an ancient civilization's relic. On the pure white branches, there were black and white fruits. Upon closer inspection, there were more than 100 of the 2 fruits. All the Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators held their breaths and stared at the black and white fruits on the ancient tree. At this moment, the atmosphere became tense and tense. Even Bai Ruoyan, who had just arrived at the temple, could not calm down her heart. This was the only black and white universe tree in the Earth Emanation's Evil King secret realm. At this moment, all the Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators showed their claws, fangs, murderous intent, and desire. This item had a godly effect on Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators. The white universe fruit could reconstruct one's cultivation or break through one's cultivation. Those who consumed it could break through a realm below Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 6. There were no restrictions on consumption, and it could be consumed repeatedly. This was a fatal temptation to any Heaven Star Border Realm cultivator present. Every realm in the Heaven Dipper realm required dozens or even hundreds of years to advance a single step. Countless heroes and heroes stopped at the Heaven Dipper realm. The breakthrough of a realm was not only an increase in strength, but it also meant the extension of one's lifespan. One could live for hundreds or thousands of years. Although the Black Universe fruit was slightly inferior, it was still a divine item for body refinement. To a body refinement martial artist, it was a treasure, and its value was comparable to countless fifth-tier treasures. I, Tianji, am destined to borrow another 2,000 years from the heavens. Tianji Elder, who had always been calm, could not suppress the ecstasy in his heart and laughed wildly. Snatch it. This is the only chance to break through to Heaven Star Border Realm Stage 5 in my lifetime. Many of the older generation Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators were roaring in their hearts. This battle might be the last burning of their martial arts life. Battle Chi's sword, and the light illuminated the entire temple. All the cultivators seemed to have gone crazy. Figures crisscrossed, and everyone rushed to the black and white universe tree as if they were injected with chicken blood. The battle chi and trump cards that were kept in the first round of the ancient temple were all brought out at this time. 8-step ghost shadow, cloud crane soaring dragon, 9 shadow stars, wind chasing moon, and 3-minute instant shadows, which were rarely seen in the eyes of ordinary people, were frequently used by many Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators. Any one of them was enough to cause an uproar in the outside world. The battle started instantly. Surrounding the black and white universe tree, many Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators quickly fought. All kinds of precious and rare elixirs were crazily stuffed into their mouths at this time, as if they were free. The battle only entered a fierce battle in the blink of an eye. I got it. I got the white universe fruit. A Heaven Star Border Realm old man who killed his way out of the encirclement cut off the universe tree branch. When he got the white universe fruit in one hand, he could not help but roar in excitement. When he was about to keep it in the spirit receiving ring, 2-finger radiances tore through the air and penetrated his arm directly. The arm holding the white universe fruit suddenly fell. Just as the 2 black-robed old men caught it, a saber radiance of the evil dragon, soaring dragon, swallowed the mountains and rivers, came from the sky, and slashed the 2 of them back again. Similar scenes were crazily staged around the black and white universe tree. Everyone was in a killing frenzy just for the black and white universe fruit. In less than 10 breaths of the battle, there were already Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators who were besieged and killed on the spot. The top experts who were usually placed in the 24 domains could only sleep here at this time. It's crazy. This is the road of martial arts. One person's success is built on thousands of dead bodies. Ling Ziki, who was following behind the old woman in gray, was so scared that her pretty face turned slightly pale. Even though she had an extraordinary background, it was the first time she saw so many Heaven Star Border Realm cultivators fighting in such a chaotic battle. On the other side, Lin Shun activated his purple golden eyes. He did not act immediately, but observed the entire black and white universe tree. Since I want to snatch, I will snatch the best one. The moment the purple phoenix wings unfolded from Lin Chen's back, the old woman in gray at the side suddenly changed her expression. Chapter 134. Lin Shan held onto the 2 girls and flew up furiously with his purple phoenix wings, leaving behind a stream of purple flames in the air. Almost in the blink of an eye, all the experts were shocked by Lin Chen's sudden burst of speed. It was different from everyone present. The speed of Lin Chen's true flame purple phoenix wings mainly depended on the strength of his flesh shell and body refinement. Battle Chi cultivation was secondary. It was not affected by the depletion of spirit chi at all, no matter if it was in the evil king's secret realm or in the divine palace. These many restrictions were equivalent to nothing to the true flame purple phoenix wings. Phoenix wings? An Earth realm martial artist can actually grasp such a profound life secret treasure. This kid's foundation is really terrifying. The gray-robed old woman's eyes flashed. While everyone's attention was attracted by Lin Shun, she suddenly took action with her 4 disciples. Quick, stop him. He wants to snatch the highest quality black and white heaven fruit on the heaven essence tree. The ghost-faced swordsman who was standing on the black and white heaven essence tree was shocked. He pulled out his sword and slashed out dozens of sword shadows, attacking Lin Shun. The Heaven Dipper realm martial artists who were standing on the black and white heaven essence tree all attacked Lin Shun at the same time. Even Tianji Laoren was no exception. If I was afraid of your attacks, I wouldn't be flying in the sky to be your live target, Lin Shun laughed mockingly. The true flame purple phoenix wings flapped continuously, turning 360 degrees in the air, rotating back and forth in opposite directions, dodging all the attacks that were attacking him. What? So fast? Everyone turned pale with fright. Lin Shen's speed was actually comparable to a Heaven Dipper realm martial artist. In the pursuit of the White Blaze Aurora Stone earlier, 17 Heaven Dipper realm martial artists surrounded Lin Shun, but almost all of them returned empty-handed. In this depleted spirit chi environment, no one could touch him at all. There were also some martial artists who had flying weapons similar to what Lin had used, but almost no one would use it in this kind of situation. It was because those support-type battle weapons were only suitable for Disha realm cultivators. In an environment where experts were as common as clouds, if one's speed was not fast enough, one would only become a live target for everyone. Lin Shun charged to the summit of a distance of over 2,000 feet in the time of 2 breaths, unimpeded and unimpeded. At the top of the black and white heaven essence tree, there were dozens of black and white branches and leaves, which were shaped like trays, holding 2 pairs of black and white heaven essence fruits. These 2 pairs of black and white heaven essence fruits had a deep color and a dim light circulated around them. The energy fluctuations they released were the most intense among all the black and white heaven essence fruits present. When the experts who had climbed to the top saw that Lin Shun was so close to the 2 pairs of black and white heaven essence fruits, their faces turned pale and they all shouted no in their hearts. A black and white beam of light shot out from the leaf tray like lightning. Lin Shen's pupils shrank, and he instantly unleashed his celestial dipper battle chi. Bam! Powerful aftershocks surged in the void and spread from over 2,000 feet to the ground, stirring up a gale like a huge explosion. In the void, Lin Shun was bounced back over 200 meters, and the biting cold ice shards fell from the void. Are you all right? Baira Oyan, whose hand was held by Lin Shun, looked at him worriedly. Lin Shun smiled and nodded. I'm fine. I just didn't expect this plaything to have developed a trace of consciousness. If it wasn't for Baira Oyan and Lung Yuechi's timely defense, Lin Shen's celestial dipper battle chi alone wouldn't be enough to withstand the counterattack of the black and white heaven essence tree. Ha ha ha! Kid, you didn't expect this, right? The core of the heaven essence tree is protected by its own consciousness. Do you think you can take the best black and white heaven essence fruits just because you want to? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? The ups and downs of life are really unimaginable. All the experts burst in a laughter of ridicule. Lin Shen looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. Yes, it's really a surprise, a surprise. However, if we don't see the result of these ups and downs, how can we know who will have a last laugh? Lin Shun pushed the void horizontally and placed the 2 women at a distance of 2,000 feet from the heaven essence tree. Then, a dazzling aurora like a star was released from Lin Shen's hand. All the experts were about to fight, but they were attracted by this aurora. 3 fist-sized, incandescent aurora stones floated above Lin Shen's palm. The light energy flowing within them caused all the experts present to feel astonished. This kid actually has incandescent aurora stones. Good heavens, this kid really has a lot of good things. After taking this white heaven essence fruit, we might as well kill him along the way. All the experts stared greedily at the incandescent aurora stones in Lin Chen's hand. Only a few celestial dipper realm experts looked as if they had seen a ghost. What the F***CK? This kid, don't tell me he's... Before he could finish his words, a naive smile appeared on Lin Chen's childish face. He activated his Thunder Battle Chi and threw out the incandescent aurora stones floating in his palm. They turned into 3 meteors and fell into the top branch tray of the black and white heaven essence tree. Time seemed to be frozen at this moment. Chapter 135. Those were incandescent aurora stones. Each of them contained extremely rare light energy, and they were essential materials for forging top-tier weapons. Just one of them was priceless. Not to mention the 24 domains. Even in the entire spiritual state, the appearance of incandescent aurora stones would cause a huge uproar. Such a precious top-notch treasure was actually treated like a roadside stone by a young man who was not even 18 years old. How could he blow it up and throw it away as he wished? What kind of background did he have to have such wealth? Was it a hidden sect or family? An ancient giant force? Even the ancient giant force couldn't afford to squander it like this. This could no longer be described as a reckless waste of God's gift. It was simply deranged and infuriated by both men and gods. That's not right. How come he still has so many incandescent aurora stones? This kid only had 30 or so left after he blew them up last time. Could it be that there was something else under the lake? F***CK. That must be it. What a loss. What a loss. We've been screwed. The Heavenly Star Border Realm Masters who chased after Lin Chen suddenly realized what was going on. They slapped their thighs and stomped their feet in anger. His expression was one of annoyance and regret, as if he had eaten shit. If they hadn't chased after Lin Chen, these large amounts of incandescent aurora stones would have been theirs. This was a huge loss to their ancestors. This Lin Chen has blown up at least 120 incandescent aurora stones. The gray-robed old woman's face trembled. This was an unimaginable amount of wealth for any sect in the spiritual state. Ling Ziqi's cherry lips opened slightly. The man that senior sister fell in love with was truly unique in the spiritual state. Yin Manxing stared at the young man's back with infatuation. Although he was a bit flirtatious when he was chased by the Heavenly Star Border Realm Masters, the way he threw the incandescent aurora stones was so cool. While Lin Chen caused an unprecedented shock, Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan seemed to have a tacit understanding and stole 2 white qian fruit from high above without anyone noticing. Bang! The black and white qian yuan tree, which was over 20,000 feet tall and shaped like a mountain, was on the verge of collapsing. Lin Chen detonated 10 incandescent aurora stones for the last time, tearing a shocking crack on the black and white tray. The host has received 10,000 light energy points, 9,500 light energy points, 8,800 light energy points. Dazzling light attribute balls of light floated in the air. At the same time that Lin Chen snatched them, the purple phoenix wings rolled out a stream of purple flames and abruptly broke into the black and white trays, snatching away 2 pairs of black and white universe fruits. Lin Chen held the 2 pairs of Qian Yuan fruit. The energy flowing in his palms made him feel a lingering fear. There were 2 black heaven origin fruits and 2 white heaven origin fruits. These 2 pairs of heaven origin fruits were of the highest quality within the entire heaven origin tree. Treasure. It wasn't a waste for me to blow up nearly 300 incandescent aurora stones in one go. It wasn't a waste at all. Lin Chen laughed heroically. He spread his purple phoenix wings and flew to Bai Ruoyan's side at an extremely fast speed. He handed the two white heaven origin fruits of the highest quality to Bai Ruan. Sister Ruan, this is just a small token of my appreciation. Lin Shun laughed mischievously without a care in the world. Seeing that he actually snatched the two white heaven origin fruits of the highest quality and gave them to her immediately, a rare ripple appeared in Bai Ruan's heart. She received them seriously. Thank you, little brother Lin Shun. I won't forget this kindness. Everyone knew the value of the white heaven origin fruits. For him to give them to her so easily, this favor could not be said to be small. Seeing Bai Ruoyan so serious for the first time, Lin Shen actually felt a little embarrassed. He scratched his head and said with a smile, "It's still too early to say thanks. After all, we're going to be targeted by everyone." After saying that, Lin Shen turned around and saw a group of people rushing towards them under the black and white heaven origin tree's branches. The leader of the group was Elder Tianji, followed by the ghost-faced swordsman and the others who had a conflict with Lin Shen. There were also 4 or 5 lone Heaven Star Border Realm experts. Kill this brat and snatch his phoenix wings. This old man will definitely not give up the highest quality white heaven origin fruit. This group of people were like hungry wolves pouncing on their prey. There was only violent battle intent and greed in their eyes. Leave that group of people with Elder Tianji to me. I've taken the white heaven origin fruit, so their target should be me. You guys retreat first, or find a chance to counterattack. Bai Ruoyan carefully kept the white heaven origin fruit and smiled elegantly. Are you sure? Sister Ruoyan, your cultivation hasn't fully recovered yet. While Lin Shun was surprised, the beauty smiled sweetly. Her beauty was peerless. Little brother Lin Shun, when sister was unhindered in the 9 prefectures, Heaven Star Border Realm experts could be destroyed with a wave of my hand. Bai Ruoyan quietly turned into a wisp of smoke. Her movement technique was so profound that even Lin Shen's purple gold eyes could not see through it. Boom! Chi-chi! Colorful battle aura swept across the horizon. Bai Ruan was facing Elder Tianji and the other Heaven Star Border Realm experts at a position of more than 1,800 feet from the black and white heaven origin tree. Don't let this woman go. She took the highest quality white heaven origin fruit. Destroy her. Elder Tianji shouted and took out his fortune teller's life artifact, the eternal scroll of heaven's secrets. His heavenly brush danced like dragons and phoenixes, drawing a scroll of words from a void. It suppressed the heavens and suppressed the world, trying to seal Bai Ruoyan's movements. You don't even have a heaven-tier fortune teller, yet you dare to speak so arrogantly. Bai Ruoyan was calm. A wisp of golden light quietly flickered in her eyes. With a light flick of her slender fingers, 3 finger lights easily tore apart Elder Tianji's eternal scroll of heaven's secrets. What kind of battle technique is this? Quick attack. Elder Tianji was terrified and panicked. The Heaven Star Border Realm experts around him surrounded him. Bai Ruoyan's white sleeve swayed, and her fingers flicked continuously. She fought against so many experts alone and still had the upper hand. The 3 Heaven Star Border Realm experts that came later also joined the battle. Bai Ruoyan fought against 8 alone, and the battle was earth-shattering. The aftermath of the collision easily crushed everything within 100 feet. So powerful. Looks like Sister Ruoyan was holding back previously. Since that's the case, I have to take out some trump cards. Just as Lin Shan was rubbing his hands, eager to take out the remaining incandescent aurora stones, he was suddenly stunned. A shocking and bold idea appeared in Lin Chen's mind again. He couldn't help but reveal a childlike, innocent smile, smiling like a child. Lung Yuechi saw this scene from the side and felt an inexplicable, lingering fear in her heart. This fellow also smiled like this when he first saw the incandescent aurora stones. Legend has it that this black heaven origin fruit is a supreme grade body refinement item. It just so happens that I've reached a bottleneck in body refinement. The Azure Dragon Arm just so happens to be the opportunity for a breakthrough. Today, I want to see what kind of top-grade technique it is. The 2 black heaven origin fruits floated in Lin Chen's palm. The quietly throbbing energy within the fruits seemed to have a life of its own, extremely mysterious. Could it be that he is thinking of... Lung Yuechi was shocked. Her cold and arrogant face was filled with astonishment and shock. She was about to speak. Chapter 136. Crunch. Lin Shin took a bite and swallowed 2 dark heaven origin fruits in just a few bites. The moment he chewed and swallowed the black heaven origin fruit, 2 majestic and vast energies were like 2 flood dragons. They were on the verge of bursting out of Lin Chen's body and overturning the seas and rivers. Roar! 2 green dragons roared angrily. Streaks of glazed dragon light started to circulate from Lin Chen's left arm, going straight to the white halo in his dantian. The glassy dragon light was like an even more powerful and majestic dragon light. It suppressed the 2 energy flood dragons, forcibly dragging them into the white ring of light in his dantian. Oh my god, this feels good. Lin Chen's eyes turned white. Smoke came out of his nostrils, and his whole body twitched. His physical strength was like a hot knife through butter, breaking through bit by bit. He actually ate the dark heaven origin fruits. He's crazy. Even a body-refining expert who has reached the level of dragon force wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Don't worry. Let's kill him first and then cut open his stomach. The energy of the dark heaven origin fruits is extremely overbearing and vast. With his small body, it's impossible for him to absorb it in a short period of time. He even ate 2 of them. He's simply courting death. The ghost-faced swordsman Lung Junfeng couldn't help but sneer. He pulled out the sword in the scabbard, and a rotating sword chi lingered in the scabbard. Ghost-faced swordsman Lung Junfeng, right? Today, I like to see the level of the peripheral bloodline of the Lung family. An ice arrow cut through the cold ice line in the void, and passed between Lung Junfeng's eyebrows at an extremely fast speed. Releasing cold air, Lung Junfeng's eyebrows slowly formed an ice flower. The former stared at Lung Yuechi in front of him with a dignified expression, and his voice was somewhat shocked and astonished. I didn't expect that you're also a member of the Lung family. I like to see which faction you're from. Let's see how my blood-red 3,000 swords will kill you, bitch. Trash from the peripheral faction dares to talk nonsense. You're courting death. The battle between Lung Yuechi and Ghost-Face Swordsman Lung Junfeng was about to start. The last 3 Heavenly Dipper sovereigns surrounded Lin Shun. The 3 of them had a tacit understanding. They were all Lung Junfeng's men. Both of their sleeves fluttered in the air as 6 venomous battle chi pythons appeared. Each of them was 50 zhang long. Poisonous gas sparkled as they appeared out of nowhere and strangled Lin Shun. Power! My entire body is filled with power. Lin Shun roared towards the sky. Without any technique, he punched out with his fist. The wind from his fist was tyrannical and fierce, directly crushing the 2 battle chi venomous pythons. Bang, bang, bang. The other 4 Viper battle chi erupted like volcanoes and bombarded Lin Shen's chest, causing a series of explosions. The moment Lin Shen's Celestial Dipper battle chi defense had just been unleashed, it was broken through and shattered on the spot. Other than that, nearly 50% of the energy was still inside his body. The impact of this energy actually formed a silent external force that helped Lin Chen push the Black Heaven Origin Fruit's energy a little further into his dantian. This is so King awesome. Lin Chen was so happy that his whole body was twitching. Although the energy from the Dark Heaven Fruit was absorbed by the white halo in his dantian and the Azure Dragon Arm. Even if a little bit of energy leaked out, the energy from the Dark Heaven Fruit was comparable to a top-grade marrow cleansing elixir. His pores opened slightly. Lin Shen's meridians and bones were cleansed by part of the Dark Heaven Fruit's energy, causing the residual impurities hidden in his 8 extraordinary meridians, limbs, and bones to be discharged. Look, this brat is twitching all over from the beating. I'm rolling my eyes. Ha 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 ha. He must be about to self-destruct because of the dark heaven fruit. Let's work harder and directly extract the energy from the dark heaven fruit. So smelly. This brat's shit was probably beaten out just now. Hit him, directly shatter him. The Heaven Dipper Realm leader rushed towards Lin Shun with a palm. The fiery energy in his palm was like a hurricane, shocking and suppressing the world. The 5 fingers overlapped and turned into a dragon claw, tearing out like lightning. Thousands of techniques were engraved on Lin Chen's body. There were tearing, twisting, spinning, pulling, and many other battle chi techniques. Dozens of claw attacks were released in a breath, and Lin Chun was sent flying everywhere. The 3 Heaven Dipper realms attacked Lin Chun from all angles, but the force of each attack was helping Lin Chun push the Dark Heaven Fruit's energy into his Dantian faster. Lin Chen's flesh shell was becoming more and more condensed. After the fine impurities were discharged from his pores, it began to sublimate rapidly. The 3 Heaven Dipper realms were puzzled. Why is this brat getting stronger and stronger? What a great fight. Next, it's my turn. Lin Chen suddenly opened his eyes from his defensive posture. The young man's overbearing smile was like a king looking down on the world. He pushed out a palm with one hand and violently hit the chest of a Heaven Dipper Realm elder, breaking his ribs on the spot. A few attribute light balls fell from the sky, and Lin Chen absorbed them into his body with a casual grab. What? So strong. The other 2 Heavenly Dipper sovereigns turned pale with fright as they frantically retreated. Lin Chen once again sent out a whip kick that was as sharp as a guillotine. The middle-aged Heavenly Dipper sovereigns activated his battle chi and condensed it into a prismatic light shield. Bang! Crack! Along with the prismatic light shield, that Heaven Dipper realm's leg bone was also shattered. He screamed in the air, but Lin Chen spread out his purple phoenix wings aggressively. His purple phoenix wings were 3 times bigger than before, and his speed was faster and fiercer. You 3 Heaven Dipper realms are ganging up on me. A defenseless young man. How shameless. There's a saying in my hometown, respect the old and love the young. Today, I'll respect the old properly. Lin Chun, who had spread out his purple phoenix wings, appeared behind the 3rd Heaven Dipper realm like a ghost. His right fist smashed explosively, his left knee struck ruthlessly, and his left elbow pierced like a dagger. Lin Chun was like a precise killing machine, violently beating the 3rd Heaven Dipper realm all the way. Some astute Heaven Dipper realms had already discovered that Lin Chen's pure strength was around 980,000 tiger power, which was almost the same as his green dragon arm. When they heard the words, unarmed youth, the corners of many people's mouths twitched fiercely. You are unarmed, but every part of your body is countless times harder than F** King Black Iron. Looking at Lin Chen's battle again, many older Heaven Dipper realms were sweating profusely. 3 Heaven Dipper realms were surrounded and beaten up by Lin Chen alone. Even if they fell onto the branches of the black and white universe tree, it was still the same. The most important thing was that not only was the pure strength of his flesh shell terrifying, but even his moves were incomparably vicious and insidious. Either he focused on the middle part of the person and hammered at the person's heart. Either he aimed at the person's lower part, and there would always be a leg-ending kick. Or he aimed at the person's upper part, piercing the eyes and deafening the ears. It was as ruthless as it could be, piercing the eyes, kicking the person's crotch, hammering the person's chest, all in one go. More than 10 Heaven Dipper realms were sweating profusely. What the F***CK is this called respecting the old and loving the young? Then everyone present would probably be rewarded with the 3 Good Citizen Awards. Chapter 137. Awesome. Awesome, truly awesome. Beating up a Heaven Dipper realm. Damn it, this is a sure win deal. Ha ha ha. Lin Chen was laughing so hard that his mouth cracked. Their cultivation levels might be suppressed, But these old fellows were genuine Heaven Dipper realm experts. The attribute light balls that Lin Chun struck off from their bodies all had extremely high values. In the outside world, they were all peak-level experts whose names were immortalized throughout the ages and whose names shook the hearts of millions and millions of people. Outside the mystic realm, they were all Heaven Dipper realm second and third stage experts. In the desolate region, they were experts at the pinnacle of the pyramid and were almost equivalent to the college's bald elder and the vice principal. A fourth stage Earth realm martial artist beating up 3 Heaven Dipper realm second and third stage experts. If this was in the outside world, it was something that would never happen. On the contrary, they could kill Lin Chun with a single slap. Apart from the dragon race's ability and the limited number of divine desolation 9 arts, Lin Chun didn't even have the capital to fight with them. But in this mystic realm, especially in this divine palace hall, they were Lin Chun's punching bags. They didn't even have the slightest bit of temper. Divine desolation 9 arts, light fury. Seeing that his battle chi essence attribute was about to be filled up and was about to break through to a new rank, Lin Chun's frenzied attacks were mixed with the divine desolation 9 arts. A light attribute energy ball that was over 100 feet in size suddenly fell down and bloomed into an energy storm that engulfed the entire black and white universe tree. After destroying so many incandescent aurora stones, Lin Chun's light attribute energy value had already reached a terrifying figure of over 2 million points. A single light fury had severely injured 2 Heaven Dipper realm experts on the spot, causing them to almost lose their ability to move. Damn it, little bastard. I will fight it out with you today. That middle-aged Heaven Dipper realm expert with fierce eyes and sharp brows roared towards the sky. An unprecedented violent battle chi rushed out from his body and converged into a 300 feet long wild lion with an aura that could engulf the world. Heaven Dipper realm battle chi cultivation. This middle-aged man actually forcefully broke through his own cultivation seal in the mystic realm. This terrifying momentum instantly caused Lin Chun to focus. All the pores on his body were emitting warning signals. However, before he could mobilize his magnificent battle chi, a pitch-black thunderbolt tore open a space crack in the void and struck on his head, annihilating his battle chi on the spot. He himself was split in half by the black lightning and exploded, dying on the spot. Seeing this scene, some of the Heaven Dipper realm who wanted to unlock the cultivation suddenly put away this small idea, and panic and fear rose in their hearts. This was the heavenly might of the evil king's secret realm. Once a battle chi cultivator of the Heavenly Dipper realm or above appeared, they would be instantly killed. Host has received 84 million points of battle chi essence, 11,000 points of spiritual energy. After a few flashes, Lin Chun picked up all the attribute light balls. His battle aura that was about to be depleted was once again filled up. Not only that, it seemed that he was about to reach a new bottleneck. The higher the level of the cultivation method, the stronger the foundation. The difficulty of a breakthrough in cultivation would also increase. The spiritual energy in the shrine was exhausted. Wanting to break through in battle chi cultivation under such circumstances was as difficult as ascending to heaven. Even if Lin Chun killed a Heaven Dipper realm this time, the battle chi essence attribute light balls obtained were far from enough for him to break through a realm. Damn it! I can get so much battle chi essence from killing a Heaven Dipper realm. Lin Chun's eyes lit up, and a ruthless expression appeared between his brows. He turned to look at the other 2 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators with a savage smile. Oh no, this kid wants to kill us. Let's go. The 2 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators finally felt that something was wrong. They took a pill, and their battle chi nearly doubled. The speed of their movement techniques increased by a few notches. Little guy, you want to run? Do you think you're in a brothel? You can run just by pulling up your pants. Lin Chun laughed evilly and was about to activate the green dragon arm to counterattack. However, his eyes suddenly widened as if he had seen a ghost. Damn it! Where's my green dragon arm? Lin Shen rolled up his sleeves. At this time, his left arm was clean and clean. There was no green dragon tattoo from before. What's the situation? Where did my azure dragon arm go? I absorbed 2 black heaven origin fruits. Could have grown wings and flown away. This time, Lin Shen couldn't care about the 2 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators who had escaped. He immediately began to check the situation in his Dantian. In Lin Shen's Dantian, in addition to the dazzling 9-colored battle soul surrounded by 4 chi rivers, there was a green light ring floating beside it. This green light ring was the white ring that Lin Shen had obtained on True Dragon Mountain. However, at this time, it was shining with a pale green flowing light. It was crystal clear and beautiful like a gem in the night sky. The most amazing thing was that Lin Shen also felt a life fluctuation similar to his own consciousness form inside. What's inside? Come out. Lin Shen suddenly opened his eyes. His battle chi led the green light ring in his Dantian. At this moment, with Lin Shen as the center, it released a terrifying aura that could absorb the stars and disturb the nebula. Roar, roar, roar. The earth-shattering dragon roar swept through the entire black and white Xianyuan tree like a raging tide. Just the terrifying sound wave of the dragon roar turned into a smoky air wave that slapped out. The momentum surpassed any battle that was going on. When all the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators looked over, they couldn't help but take a deep breath. It was more than 700 feet long. It was shaped like a long snake. It had 4 limbs and 5 claws. It had the head of a qilin, the tail of a carp, the antlers of a deer. It had a long beard and green, jade-like scales. Its whole body was emitting a primitive aura that was surging. Its pupils were shining with green, flowing light. It burst out a murderous aura and nobility that dominated all living things. Its shiny and sharp fangs were like ancient iron knives. The aura it exhaled was like a storm that swallowed the world. Its divine power was everywhere, and it was like a king descending to the world. All the cultivators were intimidated by its dragon power. All the battles stopped. The ancient azure dragon. This was a genuine ancient azure dragon. It wasn't a descendant of a bloodline, nor was it an illusion of a battle technique. It was a real ancient azure dragon with flesh and blood, containing dragon power and dominating the world. On the ancient azure dragon's head stood a young man in a silver robe. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. His childish face was cold and unruly, revealing a domineering aura that controlled life and death. This brat actually hid a pure-blooded ancient azure dragon in his body. What a domineering azure dragon. Its strength has already reached 1 dragon strength. It has the power to match a real Heaven Dipper realm cultivator. Didn't they say that except for the level 5 ferocious beast bred in the secret realm, any Heaven Dipper realm cultivator and level 5 ferocious beast that sneak and would be obliterated? Oh my god, how'd he do it? How'd he bring such a huge, ancient, ferocious beast in? All the cultivators present were shocked. This ancient azure dragon could only be found outside the evil king's secret realm. Otherwise, even if they were out of the temple, none of them present would be able to fight it alone. Chapter 138. So the halo I obtained on the True Dragon Mountain is the life source that gave birth to the azure dragon. No wonder my azure dragon bloodline disappeared. It was all concentrated in the life source. I made a fortune. I've made a fortune. Lin Shen stood on the dragon's head. He looked dignified and cold, but in fact he was very happy. If there was no one present, he would throw his fists and roll around on the spot. The azure dragon's arm had already absorbed the huge amount of resources that Lin Shen gave it before entering the evil king's secret realm. This was the early stage of the azure dragon's energy condensation. After absorbing the basic energy, Lin Shen tried to swallow 2 dark heaven origin fruits. Most of the dark heaven origin fruit's life energy was absorbed by the azure dragon's life source in his Dantian. Thus, this unprecedented ancient azure dragon was born. Because the azure dragon was born in the evil king's secret realm, the heavens' might law in this secret realm had already regarded it as a natural ferocious beast born in the secret realm. It would not be restrained by the law at all. He's indeed the most special. Yin Manqing had already completely fallen. Her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Shun on the dragon's head, and only extreme adoration and worship were left in her eyes. Damn it, now it's time for me to make a comeback. Lin Shun chuckled evilly. The moment he rolled up his sleeves, all the powerhouses present felt their hearts skip a beat. It's over. When this brat was respecting the old and cherishing the young, his method of greeting people was more ruthless than the previous one. Now, he was given an ancient azure dragon. Damn it. Lin Shen's gaze first turned towards Bai Ruoyan's direction. His smiling appearance made Bai Ruoyan cover her mouth and laugh lightly. Why is this younger brother Lin Chun so cute? How many trump cards does he have hidden? Bai Ruoyan smiled beautifully. When Elder Tianji and the other 7 Heaven Dipper realm experts heard this, their hearts instantly trembled. Cute? It was more like terrifying. Ancient Azure Dragon. F*** King beat him up. How dare you bully Sister Ruoyan? Don't you know who's backing you? Beat this son of AB** TCH up. Lin Shun decisively pointed at the 8 Heaven Dipper realms in Bai Ruoyan's direction. The ancient azure dragon angrily let out a roar and leaped into the air. Its dragon claws carried the power to pierce through the stars and shatter meteors as it furiously slammed down. Tianji Lauren and the other Heavenly Dipper realm cultivators were so scared that their faces turned pale. They instantly executed their movement techniques. After images were everywhere as they leaped and dodged. All kinds of special skills and escape secrets were used. Bang! Rumble! The airflow collapsed and the branches cracked. Several gusts of wind swept across the entire army, exploding from the void. With this claw, the ancient azure dragon broke the 100-meter-thick branches of the Qianyuan tree. Before those Heaven Dipper realm cultivators could react, the ancient azure dragon rolled its tail and swung it again. Rip! Pa! 2 Heaven Dipper realms had their battle chi defense shattered in midair. Their liver and gallbladder ruptured, and they were on the verge of death by the azure dragon's tail. Their flesh and blood were badly mutilated. The ancient azure dragon continued to chase after the rest of the Heaven Dipper realms. It took the lead to lock onto Tianji Lauren and the rest. Lin Shun leaped into the air and jumped towards the 2 Heaven Dipper realms who were on the verge of death. He went up and gave him a round of respect the old and love the young fist. Most of the experts who were watching felt their scalps tingling. Attribute light balls flew all over the sky, and 2 treasure chests even dropped. Finally, lightning flashed and set off a clap of thunder. Lin Shun sent them on their way with a thunder explosion, letting them die happily. Host received 3.94 million battle chi essence, 3.01 million chi and blood energy, 500,000 cultivation technique essence. Host opened the secret silver treasure chest. Received 100,000 rune energy. Host opened the fine silver treasure chest. Received 100,000 dark energy. Host received 4.08 million battle chi essence, 69,000 spiritual power, 410,000 water energy. Lin Shun picked up crazily in the air, and the attribute value showed an unprecedented increase. The earth-shattering explosion sounded again. The ancient azure dragon had crushed a Heaven Dipper realm cultivator to death, and now it was still chasing after Tianji Lauren and the rest. There was no spiritual energy here, and the ancient azure dragon could only rely on its own strength to move. However, its speed was still the fastest in the area. If there was spiritual energy, the real azure dragon could ride the clouds and travel through the ground. Although the Heaven Dipper realm cultivators killed by the ancient azure dragon also dropped attribute light balls, because they did not belong to Lin Shun, the attribute light balls dropped were only half of what Lin Shun killed personally. Lin Shun, I'll fight you to the death. You little brat. Come and fight me one-on-one if you have the ability. F***CK. What kind of ability are you? A mere azure dragon? What kind of man are you? Tianji Lauren and the rest were being chased by the ancient azure dragon, and they could only roar crazily. The azure dragon's defensive power and destructive power were directly proportional. The combat power they displayed in the shrine was not even 1% of their peak strength, and they could not break the azure dragon's defense at all. Even if they were out of the shrine and in a space with normal spiritual energy, the 5 of them could still contend with a real Heaven Dipper realm cultivator. However, in this godforsaken place where spiritual energy was depleted, it was already the best result that they were not killed immediately. This bunch of loudspeakers, these guys are trying to kill themselves. They're tired of living. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He was just about to go and support Lung Yueqi, but this bunch of people provoked his anger. Killing one is killing. Killing thousands is also killing. I'm afraid I won't have the chance to kill Heaven Dipper realm cultivators again in my life. Why should I be the good guy? Some of the experts had already seen the situation clearly. Lin Chen was the only one in control of the situation in the shrine. No one had the ability to protect themselves in front of him. Many of the experts who had obtained the black and white heaven fruits had already retreated from the battle and began to circle around the perimeter to recover. At the same time, they also invited each other to form a temporary alliance. Those who could come here were not ordinary people. If they could not see the situation clearly, they would be fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Lin Chen instantly joined the battle with Tianji Lauren and the rest. He waved his hand and ordered the ancient azure dragon to stop attacking. Which one of you said that you want to fight one-on-one? Come out, and I'll fulfill your wish, you bastards. I'll fight him one-on-one. Lin Chen was overbearing and domineering. His words stunned the 5 Heaven Dipper realm cultivators. But soon they reacted. Tianji Lauren sneered. Do you think I'll believe you? If you have the ability, keep the ancient azure dragon first. Lin Chen sneered disdainfully. With a thought, the ancient azure dragon turned into a ray of light and flew into Lin Chen's dantian, disappearing. Seeing the ferocious ancient azure dragon disappear from Lin Chen's body in a breath's time, many experts sighed in amazement. Does this brat really dare to fight one-on-one with us? He's still too young. We have to seize the opportunity this time. Who cares about him? In any case, he has already put away that azure dragon. When the duel starts, we will all attack together. We will use our strongest attacks and blast him into smithereens. Tianji Lauren's eyes flashed with cold, killing intent. Chapter 139. At least you're still a man. I was the one who asked for a one-on-one duel. Let me duel with you. A young man covered in blood walked out and stared at Lin Chen with a hideous smile. His face was pale, and his skin was dry without a trace of blood. It didn't seem to match his real age. Then come at me. Lin Chen curled his lips and said disdainfully. Just as he finished speaking, the other party flipped his hand, and a huge dark red axe that looked like it could split a mountain rose into the air. The force of 10,000 wild horses turned into a meteor, falling from the sky and chopped down. His battle aura covered the mountains and rivers, and the wind and clouds suddenly changed. Blood Netherhand, Rakshasa 10 swords, Merciless Great Palm. Behind the young man who launched the attack, the 4 people led by Elder Tianji launched a fierce attack. The distance between them was very short. Even if Lin Chen reacted, he wouldn't have the time to escape. Many experts sneered in their hearts. Wasn't this Lin Chen too hot-blooded? Did he really think that he could duel with someone else? He actually let go of the best opportunity to kill his opponent. In the entire scene, only Bai Ruoyan was smiling elegantly. She knew that her brother Lin Chen wasn't someone who would be at a disadvantage. You guys are standing together. That's saving me some time. Lin Chen smiled slyly. He opened his shoulders slightly and flipped his arms. The inextinguishable azure light was like the history of the dragon race evolving in the azure light. two azure dragon arms appeared. What? The jaws of the Heaven Dipper realms, watching the battle, almost dropped. What was going on? The two azure dragon arms had the power to pierce through mountains and rivers. They smashed all the attacks, and even killed 5 Heaven Dipper realms with a single palm. The 5 of them used their limited battle chi to attack, and didn't prepare for defense at all. In front of Lin Chen's azure dragon arms, they were as weak as tofu. They were smashed with a single slap. Lin Chen's ancient azure dragon had completely become a part of his body. Whether it was releasing the ancient azure dragon to fight or using the ancient azure dragon's power, he could do it with a single thought. It was as if they were naturally connected to each other. Lin Chen casually picked up the attribute light balls that filled the sky. His battle chi cultivation had forcefully rushed to the peak stage of the 4th level of the Earth realm. The thicker one's foundation was, the more difficult it would be to make a breakthrough. But this difficulty still couldn't stop Lin Chen. His cultivation broke through as the system screen popped up. Host has advanced to the 5th level of the Earth realm. In front of everyone, Lin Chen's cultivation had completely risen to the 5th level of the Earth realm. Some of the older generation Heaven Dipper realm experts felt their scalps go numb and were shocked. The spiritual energy here was so sparse. Where did he get the foundation to break through on the spot? He is actually already at the 5th level of the Earth realm. Yun Manqing, who had retreated to her master's side, stared blankly at Lin Chen. She clearly remembered that not long ago, Lin Chen was still at the 4th level of the Earth realm. Right now, everyone could see that this prodigy from the Sun Saint Temple, Yun Manqing, had completely fallen for him. This child is truly a heaven-shocking prodigy. He is yet another one in a billion prodigy. The gray-robed old woman sighed from the bottom of her heart. Because Lin Chen's sudden attack with the true flame purple phoenix wings had attracted the attention, their Sun Saint Temple had obtained 2 white heaven fruits and 1 black heaven fruit. It was a bountiful harvest. How should we deal with this fella? Lung Yueqi and Bai Ruoyan were like dragonflies skimming the surface of the water. They gracefully landed beside Lin Chen. That ghost-masked swordsman was tied up on the ground. Throw him away. Since he is useless to us, we can just leave his things behind. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Lin Chen wasn't afraid that the news of him offending the ghost-masked swordsman's faction would be announced. He didn't have the time to consider such things. After stripping the ghost-masked swordsman's storage ring, Lin Chen crippled one of his arms and threw him out to fend for himself. Had it not been for his formidable strength, this swordsman would have brought along his 3 Heaven Dipper realm experts to eliminate him. Not killing him was already the greatest kindness. He was no longer interested in the attribute light balls dropped by this prodigy at the 9th level of the Earth realm. He was interested in all the Heaven Dipper realm experts here. We have already obtained 4 black heaven fruits and 6 white heaven fruits. Among them, there are 2 that are of the highest quality. Lung Yueqi's expression had a rare ripple as she smiled delightedly. With this white heaven fruit, her cultivation below the 6th level of the Heaven Dipper realm wouldn't have any bottlenecks. You're happy just like this? Minter Lung, the show has just begun. Lin Chen licked his lips and looked down at all the Heaven Dipper realm experts below the black and white heaven tree with a trace of flirtatiousness. That gaze was simply like a single dog who had been single for 30 years and didn't even have the chance to watch a romance movie when he saw a group of stunning beauties. His eyes were dripping with saliva. Those who were swept by his eyes all had goosebumps. This kid wouldn't be up to any tricks, right? Thinking of his ancient azure dragon, nearly 200 Heaven Dipper realm experts stood together like an organization and stared at Lin Chen at all times. Lin Chen's heart gave birth to a wonderful pleasure. The Heaven Dipper realm experts who looked down on billions of mortal beings in the outside world were now like shivering sheep in front of him. An Earth realm expert. If I don't slaughter you now, do I still have to keep you for the new year? Without saying a word, Lin Chen decisively released the ancient azure dragon and jumped back to the ground with the 2 women. Seeing him release the ancient azure dragon, All the experts' hearts jumped. It's over, this kid still doesn't intend to let them go. But all of them together were definitely not to be trifled with. If they were to make a fuss, it would be a life and death struggle. At this time, they mustn't back down. What a fat sheep each, and every one of them is sent to my mouth. If I, Lin Shun, don't eat them, I'll be letting down this handsome face of mine. Lin Shun pretended to be depressed and let out a long sigh. All the experts' mouths twitched violently. In the next moment, Lin Shin's expression changed faster than flipping a book. His brows became sharp and murderous. All of you must think that you can go against me if all of you work together. Let me tell you, without a set of tough teeth, I won't be able to bite through all of you so easily. Light flashed. Lin Shun sat on the ancient azure dragon's head. A large pile of incandescent aurora stones emitted a dazzling light and piled up into a small mountain. Just by looking at it with the naked eye, there were at least 200 incandescent aurora stones. This time, the incandescent aurora stones were the last straw that broke the camel's back. Most of the Heaven Dipper Realm experts finally showed a trace of fear on their faces. They had seen with their own eyes how powerful the incandescent aurora stones that Lin Shun had detonated previously were. Just one explosion was enough to seriously injure at least one of them. Just now, Lin Shun had used up close to 200 incandescent aurora stones in one go. It was enough to blow up the defensive form of the black and white universe tree that had been growing for 10,000 years. In the space outside the shrine that was filled with spiritual energy, Lin Shin's detonation of one incandescent aurora stone was enough to injure a Heaven Dipper Realm expert. Then, what about in a space like the shrine that wasn't protected by spiritual energy? Without a doubt, if 200 incandescent aurora stones exploded together, it would be enough to make all of them suffer. Not to mention, Lin Shin's combat strength and the two beauties beside him were also not to be trifled with. Not to mention, he still had the ancient azure dragon as his trump card. He actually still has 200 incandescent aurora stones. What kind of aurora stone vein did this brat dig? Damn it, he must have used up at least 400 of them. Seeing that everyone's fighting spirit was starting to fade, Lin Shin added fuel to the fire and smiled casually. Seniors, are you all scared already? This is only the second batch. If it's not enough, I still have the third and fourth batches. I guarantee that each of you will experience the wonderful feeling of being blown up by such precious treasures of heaven and earth. The Heaven Dipper Realm experts trembled as if they had recalled something terrifying. Brat, what do you want? Two Heaven Dipper Realm experts from the spiritual state who were still rational asked in a deep voice. What do I want? That's simple. Lin Shin rubbed his hands with a smile. Then he suddenly changed his tone and shouted coldly. All of you, stand properly for this young master. From now on, this is a robbery. Men stand on the right, women on the left. Lie on the ground in a disheveled manner. The handsome ones stand in the middle. Those in women's clothing stand in front. Those who are not in women's clothing, stand still and shout 300 times for me. Then, hand over your soul-collecting rings obediently. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.